Cody Webb.
Yeah.
We're doing the podcast.
Yeah, like now it's different. Like everyone's gotten way better, you know? But back in the day, I would literally just ride through the hard parts and just like putt around. And now I'm like, it's like a sprint for 3 hours and it's f***ed up. It was way more fun when it was like, no one knew what they were doing.
It was way more fun when I was so much better than these kooks.
Yeah. There was a lot of beef between Haaker and I for a while. I really don't know what happened. We just didn't like each other, I guess. You got Roxon, who's had crazy money deals throughout his career. And then you got Friese, who's just been
on pennies to the dollar.
On pennies the whole time, right? So then you go to these international races, especially where they pay good money or start money for these guys just to have the big names there, you know what I mean? So he gets a good start. He doesn't want to, dude, that's a huge payday for him.
I met a gypsy.
Now, if you've been following the podcast recently, you would know that we're on a massive health kick as we get ready to take on World Vets at Glen Helen in November of 2023. Athletic Greens is not only an all-in-one formula that helps me just cover all my nutritional bases, it's also the first healthy habit that I have that starts every single day. AG1 is packed with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients of the highest quality that are able to offer gut health support, mood support, can affect your energy each day, and contribute to overall healthier looking hair and skin. Good.
Yeah.
Everything's done.
Yeah.
Cody Webb.
Yeah.
We're doing the podcast after not seeing each other for 6 years, maybe?
I don't know. We did 2016, I think, was that Donner Party thing. And then Adelaide, I don't know when that was, 2018.
I think
your brother was there. It was your brother.
My brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Aussie accents, they kind of blend in, you know?
Yeah. No, I get that. But, and then, would we have seen each other, though? Like, TKO maybe?
Oh,
Tennessee?
yeah, maybe. I think you went there once when Wes came out and did the whole filming for that. So, yeah, it's been quite a while. But, I mean, we spent like a full, not a week, but like a lot of time
like
in that cabin. And then all day, every day on the mountain up there in Donner.
That was really cool, too.
Yeah.
Like, that was and I don't know if you remember, but I was fresh off that gnarly kidney surgery.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't that long after that.
Dude, it was so soon after that. And I was shooting on that slow motion camera. So I was just humping that thing like up and down. There was like, I mean, I don't remember the numbers, but it was like miles. Like we did miles and miles of carrying cameras and tripods up and down. And like, remember, were you there when we were scouting as well?
Yeah, I think I showed up early with the scout and then Taylor showed up later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we walked a ton then. And then there's only so many access roads and the terrain there is like so gnarly that you can't get to it on a bike or a UTV. Like you have to hike in.
Yeah.
And I took you guys to some pretty bad spots because I had been there before you guys even showed up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this would be sweet. I'm all excited and you guys are just what, 7,000 feet? I don't know how many meters that is, but I mean we were pretty far up there too.
Yeah. Remember I had my dog with me as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the dog was just cruising around. He was loving
the dog
it.
was pumped. He was loving life.
He was loving it. He's still going strong.
Yeah.
He's in Oz now.
Nice.
Yeah, so migrated him. That was a whole thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's living the dream in Australia right now, doing his thing. But no, dude, that was such a fun trip, eh? It was like an underrated video too. I don't think it did as well as what, like, it was good, if that makes sense.
I think it was too soon for that type of content to come out. Like,
I think so.
I feel like right after that, or maybe around that same time, like Danny McCaskill was doing all the crazy stuff, and now you got like Fabio Wibner.
Yeah.
So I feel like Fabio like exploded with his like crazy office at home when he was riding all the crazy mountain bike stuff in his yard during shutdown, had nothing to do. And I feel like if we had waited for that video to come out and released it during like COVID, it probably would have gone way gnarlier because no one had anything to do, and like all branches of motorsports and two-wheel enthusiasts would have seen it, you know?
Yeah. Everyone would,
but it was too soon. But like, man, some of the stuff, like looking back at it, like we have a US Hard Enduro race there now last few years.
Oh,
so
sick.
I mean, we're still having dirt bike races there. It's a huge, pretty good ski size facility for a ski ranch. Obviously run down and outdated, but it's private property, so you can kind of do whatever you want there. That's how we're able to do that film. But it's cool to be like walking the track with some of the other racers who obviously have all seen it. And I'm like, oh, we did this. Oh, Taylor and I scouted this. Taylor was psycho. He wanted to try this, but I told him it's a bad idea. Like, there was some stuff we didn't even try because, you know, and Taylor broke his middle finger.
Yeah,
like
first day.
First section,
first everything, like first feature that you guys hit
together. He won toughest guy award for dealing with that.
He didn't complain at all.
No,
the entire
very
time.
minimal.
Like,
yeah, he didn't complain.
He just did his shit. Like, there was maybe 1 or 2 shots where he was like, I just don't know that I got this.
I think there was one near the end. Remember we jumped off the deck onto that downhill staircase, and then we like rode across the parking lot and like went up a little ledge. But like, I think he was fine till he had to pull up on the bars, but he couldn't pull because the end of the middle finger was broke. So I remember he just like ran straight into the rock and I almost hit him. So obviously that got cut from the film, but little things like that people don't realize was like he did the whole thing hurt.
Oh man, and like there was some gnarly stuff in that too, like the fire road, the ski, like where you were jumping off that, like that was a pretty big huck, and there's no practice runs at that sort of thing, you know, it's just
do
like,
or die almost.
Like, that looks about right.
And I'm like the trials guy, and you got Taylor like coming from the moto background, and I was like, I just have to do this first because if I'm not gonna be able to do it, like I have to do it now. So we just like, I think we shot that maybe 3 times where we like stepped onto that roof and then launched off across like a pad road, whatever it was. And remember we had to like clear out the land. There's rocks everywhere and bushes. Like, I look at that photo sometimes still, like, and it baffles my mind, some of the stuff I did, but I was just young and didn't care, and I wanted to make some cool stuff for everyone.
Well, what was that project in the timeline of like your Red Bull deal and like Red Bull kind of, was that like your first big Red Bull project?
That was, my first big one. We've done a couple of little things since, but like that was my first full year with Red Bull. I think Taylor had a year before me as well, and there's just been so many talks about Donner partying too, but something different. And like, we kind of get the gears rolling and things start happening, and then it kind of just dwindles away again. So I'm clinging in there, hoping for another attempt for something similar. So we'll see.
Well, the content's just weird now.
Yeah.
Like it's just very, I mean, even Red Bull content, like I don't exactly shoot for Red Bull these days in the way that I used to, but it's like, basically, they want to make 100 TikToks in a row. Like that's a web edit now. Is like, all right, let's have all these bits that could go on TikTok, and then we'll like cram them together. And
I guess now it's just
like
turned
very
into
beastified.
A bunch of just shorter viral clips, and the attention span of everyone now is just so minimal. Like, I mean, there's some stuff I'll watch where it's super interesting, but I felt like the Donner partying video we did was just like banger after banger. Like there was not very
There's
many,
no downtime.
Yeah. And no offense to Wes. Wes might hear this, but honestly, the music we put onto that clip kind of ruined it. I thought.
But I think that's kind of one of the bummers with Red Bull is like you just kind of have a library that you have to pick from, and then you kind of can't go left and right. Like I know in the fucking Moto Spy, Hunter had a segment, and they're just like, dude, please let me have just let me spend some money on a song, and they're just like, no, we can't.
We'll spend all the money on the budget to like make this cool video, but
I don't think like legal can even clear it. You know what I mean? It's like actual legal shit.
Yeah,
where they're just like, no, we can't do it.
But then there was so many cool shots, and even just the aerial stuff of up there. Like I mean, we rented that crazy helicopter with like
that was
8K,
so
like
sick.
Like at that time, that was the gnarliest. And that's probably a normal camera now, but like it probably pretty still expensive to this day. And I remember like we had CHP, California Highway Patrol, shut the road down,
the bridge down,
and I think there was like comets or something that night. Do you remember one of the we were like Taylor and I are ripping up the road, like this crazy historic road, and people are like sleeping in the back of their pickup trucks and like getting mad at us at 6 a.m. They were leftover stargazers from the night before, and here we are, like roads closed, ripping back and forth, getting shots, and the helicopter flying above. So it was funny. They didn't look too happy to see us out there.
Man, that I feel like that was probably the time in my life where I started to take in moments. And like I think when you're really young, you don't take that much in. You kind of you're just doing all the shit that's in front of you. And I think like, I don't know, maybe the whole kidney thing and getting fucked up. And I remember vividly, I had to, for the shot that you're talking about, that morning shot where like CHP closed it down, I had to hike the Phantom camera all the way up onto the ridge. Like, oh no, it wasn't the Phantom. We didn't need it for that. It was just a red with like a massive long lens. And I just had a perch that I like, that was one of the spots we scouted, and it was just me walking up with a tripod at fucking 4:30, 5 in the morning.
Before the sun came out, because we had to prep for that shot.
Yeah. And I'm just, me and my dog, we're just walking up there, and I just perched up, and I really remember just that scene, that bridge, the road, the way
the lakes
sunrise,
down off the bottom.
Yeah,
and I remember looking at those shots because I remember literally almost where you were to a T. And like we were looking at the shots on the Phantom, just so psyched. Yeah. Every time. Like that was, yeah. Well, it wasn't the Phantom on that one, but like looking at the shots, it's just crazy.
The gnarly, you remember there's a shot where you're doing that, you built a little rock.
Yeah, I built that rock kicker and huge splatter.
And you remember the butterfly? The butterfly
was just like, you could see the wings flapping it as I'm like almost past vert, and like Taylor's in the background in that shot, because we're both hitting like a same wall, but like he was farther down. But yeah, the butterfly wings that was cool. We were
I need
stoked
to dust
on
off
that.
the camera. I'm like I'm jonesing a bit now. That's like probably the coolest part of being involved with Red Bull. Is that like that type of stuff, you know? You just get an opportunity to fully express how you saw dirt biking, and I mean, we'll obviously talk about your career, but still got such a unique background of trials. You do trials on a real dirt bike, you know, and there's a few guys, but there's not many guys that do that. And you wanted to like send it, but trial style, and I mean, even one of the gnarly ones was the drop off the dam.
Oh yeah,
that was fucking gnarly.
Yeah, because there was not a lot. It was you had to like hit it at an angle sideways and like try and fall into it. Because if you like did it completely sideways, you would just land and slide out. But then you couldn't you couldn't go straight off. You'd land a flat. So it was like the best part was, remember, it was like the drinking water dam, and I think Hacksaw was it Hacksaw that helped us out? Hacksaw. He was buddies with Sean Palmer back in the day. They rode mountain bikes. But he helped build, and he was up there, so like he had the intel. But
and he built like that little kind of Hacksaw's playground or whatever he called it.
But remember, they wouldn't let us ride the dam, but we did and shot it all anyways and waited to hear. And basically, it was kind of like, we'll better to ask for forgiveness after the fact. So he's like, okay, well, only if they really trust themselves to be able to do it. We didn't tell them. We had already filmed everything, and we were just waiting on letting us use the footage from that. So it was pretty funny, like doing cool wall rides on that dam and dropping off of it and just kind of, you know, just waiting for opportunity and acting like we hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, a pretty unique shoot in dirt bikes.
Yeah,
like when I think
it was so different than anything before that, really.
Yeah, and no one really did too much like that. I mean, it was as real, like kind of big mountain backcountry as you can do a moto film, really.
Yeah, I think it was, you know, obviously with mountain bikes, you're stuck to going downhill on big sends and drops off that. But like the advantage of being on dirt bikes is you can go up and down stuff. So it was like kind of this weird technical sendy video. Like nothing was crazy huge, but like the consequences were really bad. So it was huge at the same time.
Yeah, and just rocks everywhere. Oh yeah, like everything that you did, it's like you crash, you're in rocks.
Yeah, break a finger like Taylor Robert, but. No, that was one of the coolest videos. I mean, for sure, to me, to this day, that was the coolest thing to be a part of and video I've done. And then I remember there was some line in the back. It was maybe the last day, but I was trying to rear tire hop like 3 rocks in a row. Yeah. And I think we got everything set up. I was like, oh, I've seen this, like just playing around. We're always looking for something new, right? And I think I did it before you guys even set the camera up. I'm thinking about trying to rear tire all these rocks, and I like greased it first try.
First go.
And then do you remember how many times I tried? No one got it on camera.
Yeah, I missed it.
No one was even filming.
Yeah.
Maybe just Wes saw it, and they're like, this is awesome. And I think I spent like the next probably 45 minutes. I went over the bars, like clean over the bars, you know, like where you see it coming, you can jump through and land on your feet. But finally we got it, and it was a really good shot, but not as good as it could have been, like the very first try. But I had given up by then. I was like, this is too hard. I can't. This is too much, guys.
Oh, yeah. And I remember that one super well. Yeah, I remember that you basically were just like, I'll just try and see if I can do it. And I'm like setting up my camera, like trying to get it. And that Phantom, it's like 2 minutes per shot. Yeah. So like for people that have never, it's like this crazy slow motion camera. I think it was like $100,000 basically. Is
it like a 1200 frames per second?
Like you go up to like
frames per second?
It could go up to like 1800 or 2400, but the resolution got smaller the more that you went in. And then with the shutter speeds, you'd have to run a much higher shutter speed, which brought the light down. So you kind of always had to find a balance between frame rate, frame resolution, and then the light that you had available. So they were pretty tricky to use. But it's like basically the camera's always rolling, and then at the end of the shot, once the shot's over, you have to press record basically, and it backwards records for 2 minutes or whatever, because it records to the cache on the camera itself. So then you have to you do your end record, then you go back, and then you have to watch the shot, set your in and out point, and then it saves to the memory card on the camera, which is basically just like this huge SSD drive. So that whole shoot, I'm like running around with this fucking gnarly $100,000 camera with the batteries were like a backpack and a huge tripod and just like a full on donkey. And then I was like, did you get it? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm like, just give me a minute.
It takes a while to catch up.
Some time, dude.
I feel like you remember saying your calves were like burning one day. You're like, I can't even walk anymore. My calves hurt.
Dude, I was smoked. Like so smoked. There was one, I think it was like the day. There was one day, it might have been the last day. I remember we got all the way to the top of the hill, basically.
Yeah, and I think that was probably the last day.
Yeah, the heli did the circles around you guys. And like,
oh, you had to hike all the way to the top.
I walked all the way to the top
just for a fist bump. That's it.
Yeah. And then Wes was like, we could go all the way to the top. And I'm like, or we could go just here.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of going to look the same. Yeah. And then Wes was like, no, we should definitely go to the top.
It made it worth it. It made it worth it.
And it was.
Thank you. It made it worth it.
Yeah. It was one of those things, though. Like, I feel like that was my entire film career, is looking back at, like, I would go on these shoots. Like, Alaska was one. We did one at Alaska for Mountain Man. Do you ever, Darren Rolls?
Oh, yeah.
So
he did that race this year at the US Hard Enduro one.
Yeah, he loves it.
He's a good dirt bike rider, too.
Gnarly
skier.
Yep.
Great dirt bike rider.
Yeah, so he did, his event was called Mountain Man in Alaska. And so me and Anthony, actually, when Anthony was at Red Bull, we went to Anchorage. We got this fuck off huge motorhome, and we drove it for like 7 hours into the Arctic Circle, and then we just posted up, and neither of us knew how to use this motorhome. We left the gas on the first night, run out of gas, there was no way to get more, so we were sleeping in our snowboarding gear the entire rest of the week. It was that cold, bro. Fully boots, everything, blankets on top. Like, I've never been so fucking cold in my life, and I was just shitting myself every day because I'm on a snowmobile with all this expensive camera gear. I was doing, I don't know if I've ever told this story on here, but I was doing like the aerial filming with the Red, and the guy, like, you wear the harnesses and you get clipped in with the carabiner, and then you stand on the skids and you kind of like film out the side. So I've still got the shots of that I got from these glaciers. We're flying over these glaciers doing aerials, and it was the most amazing experience of my life in terms of like seeing that. Then the chopper starts banking and I start kind of falling a bit, and I'm like waiting for the carabiner to catch me, and then I'm like, nah, fuck. And so I stop record. I like just put the camera in one hand, grab the side of the heli, and I look back and the fucking carabiner's going like that and not clipped in. So I've done this entire flight, bro. Time. And then I've just like, Anthony's in the back, he's shooting stills out of the back, and then I've just like sunk my way in. It was negative 40, 50, whatever it was, in a helicopter with no doors on. It's as cold as you could be. And I had to take my goggles off. I took my beanie off. I took my gloves off. I just fully like de-robed because I was sweating.
Yeah, like, the panic was like next level, and your body went into like shock almost.
And so I've just like, I like sat, and then I clipped in, And then I just didn't say anything. And then I like kind of spent a couple minutes and everyone's like, you good? You good? And I was like,
I'm still here.
Fuck, man. Just a full moment, eh? And then I waited a couple minutes. I started filming again. We like circled the top of the thing.
Hooked in next time, obviously.
Yeah. And I got to the bottom and I was like, you clipped me in, right? To the pilot. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I was not clipped in, bro. I almost fell out of the helicopter. And he was just like, you could see, he went white. He was so like just bummed and thought like, he's like, that was almost really, really bad deal. But yeah, it's like you do those shoots. It's always so hectic. And in the moment, you're like, this fucking sucks. Like nothing about this is good. I don't want to quit my job. Like this is the worst. I don't like this. And then you like fasten, it was always the same. You fasten your seatbelt on the way home and you're like, that was the best week of my life.
Yeah. Like we did some insane shit out there.
Yeah. But I was like, from then on, I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to like this more in the moment or like have the perspective that this actually is fun. You are enjoying this. And as soon as you get on the plane, you're going to be extremely hyped on this trip.
Yeah. It goes like that every time. I mean, like that trip, I look back at it, it was like, I was with my wife at the time, but like we weren't married yet, but like I didn't have kids yet. I was like, all right, I'm going with my buddies. We're going to do this filming trip. Just leave at 4 a.m. Go meet up with you guys, hike the mountain for like 2 or 3 days, film for 3 days, the longest 3 days of my life. Like you felt like we could have been filming that for like a week. But, and then I think I left like, maybe when we did the scout earlier before it.
Yeah.
But like I went up there, we scouted, I went down on like 395, went on the other side by Mammoth, and then I raced like,
you were like
I raced a hard enduro that next weekend,
Yeah.
like just life on the road. And I look back at it, I was like, I just lived so carefree back then. And
It's
now
crazy,
it's like,
huh?
I have to like look back, and we're talking today and it's reminding me of like little things. Like I forgot your dog was there and your dog was having the best time of all of us.
He was fully
I think he actually
it.
started getting ripped positive by the end. Like he was starting to get a little sad about it.
Dude, you remember? Yeah, he was actually. I remember the funniest thing. I don't know if you were with us at this time. I think you were because it was when we were riding the mountain bikes and we were scouting. Dude, I didn't even have an e-bike then.
I didn't either.
None of us had e-bikes,
Yeah.
so we were like actually acoustically doing that shit. But remember, we come up on the hippies because that was the piece.
Yeah, we were right by the PCT Pacific Crest Trail, and it was like we didn't know where the line was for like national forest versus private property, but they were like talking about how awesome the bouldering was there. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Well, so we get to this. My dog has not had a drink for what feels like forever. And I'm like kind of freaking out. I'm like, man, none of us had any more water. I was like, I need to get this dog some water. Like he's been sending it. So then I'm kind of like tripping. And then we pull up on these full hippies doing like yoga, like Kundalini shit on the side of like this beautiful little
rocky
lake.
cliff thing.
And my dog just sends it into this, runs through this group of hippies, sends it into the pond and is just like splashing and just like loving his life. And then this hippie's like, what the fuck? In the middle of doing yoga. And I was like, aren't you supposed to be chill, bro?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about now. It was like off to the edge, and there was fish and stuff in there, but the dog was so pumped. Sprinted straight for there, and yeah, they honestly got kind of angry at us.
Yeah, they
like
got fully pissed.
Like they were kind of getting mouthy.
Yeah.
We weren't even doing anything wrong. Like it wasn't like we were playing loud music. Like they were just butthurt.
They were just off it that I ruined their zen. And I was like, this isn't super chill of you. Like, aren't you guys supposed to be nice? Chill? Yeah. I was like, he's living his best life right now.
He's thirsty. He's tired. It's hot.
Oh, but that was that was a hard slog of a trip. Yeah. And it's like, I think that's what's cool about those trips though, you know, like, and I think that's why we all kind of come out of it as pretty good friends.
Yeah. Do you think some of the other ones you've done filming trips on were as brutal as that one?
That's the hardest one.
Yeah. And it's just a different type of brutal too, I'd say, huh?
Yeah. And but Alaska was gnarly too.
Yeah.
Because I was legitimately scared for my life.
Well, yeah, you could have died. There's frostbite.
But dude, like just being on a fucking snowmobile, like I've snowboarded in Tahoe and Mammoth and Big Bear. Like that's the extent of my big mountain experience.
And then like, you were in real mountains with no people around.
And everyone's like, here's some flares, here's some fucking, make sure you got your shovel, like just don't go, here's kind of avalanchy here. And I'm like, dude, this is the same shit. Like you're pointing to the whole fucking mountain. Yeah. Like this all looks avalanchy to me. I was like, I was just scared the whole time. Yeah. But by the end of it, it ended up being like, I don't know, got more comfortable, but yeah.
What was Darren doing? Were they taking it up to the top?
So the race it's fucking gnarly. I don't know. I can't believe you've never seen it. You might know about it. So they start at the top of this mountain and it's in the North Pole, right? Okay.
Now I've talked to Darren, told me about what he was doing with this. Yeah.
So they do like a downhill ski run down this super steep chute, right? And then they hook a left, and then there's a dude on a snowmobile. So it was Levi LaValle was the snowmobile driver.
Yeah.
And then so they kind of have to time it so that the snowmobile meets the skier at the same time, passes him a fucking ski handle. Then he just like tucks in as pinned as the snowmobile will go to get them to the next big downhill. Then they have a point where they have to release. So they're just like hooking into this thing, like into the snow, and then just get shot down. They go jump down this huge chute and then pin it onto the finish. It's been going for like 50 years or something.
I'll have to
like
watch
that.
this.
Yeah, the video was, I mean,
you filmed it and almost died out of a helicopter, so it must be decent.
Yeah. Watch it. It almost cost me my life. But it was like a 4-minute Red Bull video, with like a bunch of GoPro footage and some aerials and some interviews and shit. But it was sick. Like, got to see the Northern Lights for the first time.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that. It's probably pretty cool.
It was really fucking cool.
Yeah, I still don't even understand that. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Aurora Borealis or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, I know the name.
Cool green lights.
Fancy green lights in the sky. I saw him somewhere else though.
Maybe Iceland just has them somewhere far north, Europe maybe.
Oh, Norway. I was in Norway. Did you ever watch Ex Machina?
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I've seen it, but I don't remember it enough.
Remember that crazy like you wouldn't know it's a hotel. Remember they were like in that crazy like forestscape mountain landscape, and they had like all the rivers. It was like that really futuristic looking exterior.
I don't remember it enough.
Well, that's a hotel.
Really?
So we like stayed at that hotel. I did a shoot there. Me and Garth Milan flew there. And we did a shoot for like 4 days. We ate like fucking whale and like it was
crazy stuff you would never. There's just nothing else available up there probably.
Well, it was for a skincare company, and they wanted to like we had like these models and stuff fly in, and we shot like all this skincare and the models in this kind of crazy hotel. It was it was a sick as shit. But yeah, we saw the Northern Lights there too.
Sounds a little bit easier than hiking through.
It was luxurious.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It
models
was,
like
yeah, it was a chick was fucking hot.
Yeah.
Like really good experience. But yeah, I think that's the other time that I've smart. But I guess I don't really know what those lights are either. You're an engineer. Come on.
Yeah, but
you're smart.
Yeah, smart enough to get through school. Just doesn't mean you're actually smart.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy? You mentioned too, like you weren't married, but you were with your chick. I'm pretty sure we had like this one drive. We had like lunch one day, and you were just talking about how you were about to propose to your chick as well.
Yeah, it took a little while. There. Yeah, it took another year. But
did ya?
I had the thought. I probably was like planning on getting the ring then at some point. And then she found out that I had the ring for like 6 months in like my sock drawer or something. She's like, what are you talking about? It was right there the whole time.
She'd be like, well, do my washing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be a wife?
Yeah. You got to earn it.
Yeah. But that whole adventure's been good. So now you're a dad.
Oh yeah, it's wild now.
You're like, you're in.
Dad, kid of 2. I have a daughter that's like almost 7 months old now. And then my son will be 4 in January, and life hits you fast, man. It's crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, and I just really not on the radar.
Like I was just a dumb kid, like not a kid, but like I don't know how old I was, 28 or something. When we did that shoot, but like I kind of have a mullet right now, but like I just like cut a mullet for that shoot. I think at home with scissors, and just didn't care. And like, now I'm the same person now, but I can't just like escape. And do things like I got to plan out my life and make sure I'm appeasing her, because it's not easy being at home with 2 kids. So, like today for this, I just flew out 7 a.m. this morning, and I'm flying out 7 p.m. tonight.
Pretty sick.
And then I got to race the final round of Enduro-X in Reno this weekend. So I got a
Do you fly to that one?
Yeah, I'm flying to Reno for that. Okay. So it'll be easy.
How far would that be to drive?
Probably like 14 hours.
So
maybe,
it is pretty far. Yeah. So you're like the hard enduro stuff is like pretty well supported still these days with like the teams and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's definitely growing. Like when we did that shoot in 2016, like there was some races and there was no like actual series. There's just kind of one-off races in the States. And now like, I feel like at the same time FIM came out, it had West, like the World Enduro Super Series, whatever it was called. And then it turned into the FIM Hard Enduro World Championship. Around that same time they had West, they started trying to push for a US Hard Enduro series. So now we have our own series and it's actually pretty legit. Like it's different promoters for each one, but an overall promoter for the whole series. And, you know, it doesn't pay like Supercross, Motocross, but like at least there's bonuses and a purse. Whereas like you race in Europe for the World Enduro, it's like FIM. They have to pay to be part of the FIM championship. So there's no money left for the racers. So like, dude, Erzberg, you do like the worst race of your life. And they're like, here's a rock. Like, good job, guys.
There's fucking heaps too, so it's not like that.
Like,
really.
I mean, like I've finished on the podium twice there. I got second and third, like, you know, quite a while ago now, but it's like, here's a rock. Good job.
Oh, dude, I love that.
And then I think like Romaniacs is 4 days of hell in the Carpathian Mountains in Romania and a prologue. And it's like 2,400 euros, something like that to sign up. But it's like, at the end of the day, the cost effective is pretty good compared to Erzberg because it's like covers your room and board, food, and the race. But like you still have to rent a bike for people coming from the States to go there, right? It's like super expensive. But like, you know, Manny won this year. He probably won less than what it cost to do. Yeah. So it's not feasible, where I feel like at least the US Hard Enduro series, it's like, you know, $120 to sign up for these races. And, you know, some of them have a $10,000 purse for first. Yeah. So, and then it pays down to like 10th. Like we have one in Pennsylvania called Tough Like Roar, and I think they paid a 15th place, and I got $5,000 for second. So at least it keeps us going. And as a off-roader, like that's a decent payout compared to the Supercross guys are probably laughing at me right now, but you know, I'm still here doing it.
Yeah, I'm here, bro. Yeah. Well, I think the hard enduro thing in general has picked up quite a bit of steam, just I guess within our culture of dirt bikes, because I mean I get asked all the time to have like you on and to have like Taddy on and to have all the like Graham Jarvis, like all those guys. I'm just constantly getting inundated with requests to have hard enduro guys on, and I'm always getting asked to like go ride hard enduro. I'm like, boys, I don't know if you
bad idea.
I don't know if you fucking seen me ride, but like World Vets was about the peak for me of like that's how gnarly I can get on a dirt bike, and this is much more than that.
Yeah, it's definitely grown a ton from the beginning. I mean, like, what, 2006, I think, is when Taddy Blazusiak came on the scene and, like, stormed Erzberg as a nobody. And then, boom, factory KTM, factory, like, Red Bull for life, pretty much, from winning that race. And then at that time, like, Pastrana was still able to finish that race. I think McGrath finished it. And, like, McGrath's the king of Supercross. Like, he's a gnarly dude.
He rides so good.
And he rides so good. But, like, one time we had, like, a Bell Helmets thing, and they all came to NorCal, which is where I'm from originally. And, like, I was riding with Axel Hodges, McGrath, and Caleb Russell, and it was, like, muddy that day. And, like, I was taking on, like, all my play-around stuff at this, like, public park. And, like, it was a little muddy, and, like, I just sent it off. I've done it a million times, but, like, to me, it's nothing. And, like, McGrath like sat down going down this hill. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Don't do that. But like he finished Erzberg back then. But now it's like, you know, you got like gnarly dudes like Colton Haaker's. He's won a bunch of Enduro-Cross races. Like he went last year and didn't even finish Erzberg. Like
and the race is
freaking gnarly, dude. And like it was hard then, but the level of the riders, the people understand the bikes more. We got gummy tires now, different moose setups in the rear tires. Like people started learning how to set the bikes up for this stuff, and then obviously they started practicing it. Like Graham Jarvis, obviously ridiculous skills, and the level now it's pretty stupid. Like 2016, I got second or third. I don't remember. But I got on the podium at Erzberg, and I think it took me like 2 hours and 29 minutes. And now I got 10th this last year, and the difficulty wise was maybe a little bit more, but like they added 8 or 10 more sections at the same difficulty, and I finished in a full hour later.
No way.
So I did 3 hours and 30 minutes or something like that this year to get 10th, and I was just done. Like I didn't even want to look at my motorcycle after that race.
It just burned it.
Yeah. And then I did Romaniacs once, I wish I had done it back in the day when it was like, just now it's just so insane. Everyone's getting too damn good. Like it's a mess. Like we've ruined our own sport. It's too specialized now.
Yeah.
But like the first day I lost my tire. So like I rode around for an hour on like a flat tire, and like I shared my location with my mechanic on WhatsApp, and he just like somehow found me like when I dropped onto a road for a sec at a checkpoint. So I had to like change. I had to put a new moose in out there.
Which they're super easy to get.
Yeah, well, I had a Ravaconda. That was a little like tire changing machine, so a little bit easier.
Oh, yeah.
So
either way, mooses suck.
I took off again, and like I was like 16th day one after that, and then day two, it was just literally the longest day ever till the gas stop. Like everyone died, everyone ran out of motor. They had some new hill called Kill 'Em All that no one knew about. And like it
killed them all.
It was absolutely devastating. And I'm like, I've never been, so I want to be prepared. So I was the only guy with like a 3-liter water pack. And so I still like, I ran out of water still, but all those guys ran out. Like dude was stopping in the creek, like filling his water with like, who knows what kind of cow shit's in that water. But when you're dying like that, like you need water. And like Alfredo Gomez is one of the dudes we race. Like he's won Erzberg before. And I caught him and he looked like worse than an amateur. Like it was after that, and it was to the service point, and like he barely finished that day. Like it was everything they could to get him to the finish. So the races are just almost
like
too
impossible.
brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unreal. And you saw, I don't know if, not as everyone watches like the hard enduro stuff, but like Getson Rodeo this year, it was like Manny won it. And there was some Joker lane, and like literally the Red Bull footage showed Manny and Billy Bolt helping each other, who's like the two baddest dudes.
Yeah, I did see that.
So like, I don't know. Sometimes they're a little too far, but then other ones like it's too easy and I complain. So I don't, there's no winning. There's no winning.
But it's in the name, right?
Yeah, hard enduro has got to be hard.
It's supposed to be really, really hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think just the personalities have done so much for the sport. Like you mentioned Billy too. I mean, he's done so much for the sport of hard enduro, and like I guess just blurring the lines between being a moto guy, being an enduro guy, being a hard enduro guy, being a flat track guy. I mean, I think that now more than ever the world's just opening up of two wheels to where everyone kind of wants a part of it all.
Yeah, it's crazy to see what Billy has done for himself and for the sport. I mean, like he came after I did, and he was super young, and he's so gnarly. Like you look at the guy and he's built like a shit brick house. Like,
bro, his hands are gigantic.
I don't even know how he fits his pants fit on. Like his legs are like bulging out of his pants. Like, and like he can't even like tuck his jersey in. His jersey's like not even long enough, or he maybe just doesn't tuck it in. I don't know, but like he's an absolute unit. And like you have all these people worried about like diet and like the dude eats whatever he wants and just rides.
He eats
rides
the plates that his food is on.
Like I can't take anything from the guy. Like, and then we race Super Enduro, which is like the indoor version of Enduro-Cross. Like he's a freak in that. It's like a sprint sport, and we'll be walking the track walk the night before, and I'm like, I'm like, I would try that after I've done this a million times and it's dry and the conditions are perfect. And I think I could send it off like this ramp full of angled slippery logs and like downside over this concrete pipe. Like I would do that one day, or I can see that being possible.
How I could do that.
Second lap of practice, dude. This fucker will just roll out and be like, hey, what? And just like nose bonk it. Any other person would eat absolute shit. And like he's swapping and just rides it out. And he's like, oh man, that was pretty crazy. And then he'll go again and try it the next lap, realize it's sketchy after he almost dies again, and he won't try it again. But like the dude does stuff that you should not do. And he's so strong and just ridiculous that he rides it out. He's a freak.
Oh man,
I'm a pretty good rider, and I'm like, this guy baffles me.
Yeah.
We're all wondering like when like the big one's going to come and he's going to take it easy, and like, nope, it hasn't happened.
No. He's like the Chuck Norris of fucking hard enduro.
Everyone's kind of afraid of him. Like, just give the guy his space.
Yeah, I remember we were doing the podcast, and he grabbed the mic, and then I'm like, wait, what? Like the size of his fucking hand over the mic. He made the microphone look like.
And then
lipstick.
He's like missing one of his fingers. I think one of his index fingers. He lost it in a sprocket when he was a kid.
I was just like, bro, you're on some fucking other shit.
I know you've never met my dad, but my dad has like the same as Billy, like just the huge, like, but every time I talk to someone, they're like, dude, your dad's hands, after they shake my dad's hands. And like growing up, he called him diesel mitts. My dad's a diesel, he's like a diesel mechanic and works on like, so like he'll laugh at you like dirt bikers, like, you know, their little torque wrench is like this big. Like he's got like, you know, 160 foot-pounds, like a 4 foot bar for his torque wrench. Like he just laughs at you. Dude. So like he works on my bike. Like people would like go to take my axle bolt off and like they couldn't even like remove the axle bolt because my dad tightened it on there.
Yeah, it's like you know how you do the triple clamps. You're like, that's about 12. It's like it's about 1200. Yeah, everything's just over.
The whole thing is just creaking.
Like, dude, the bike feels pretty stiff. Eh? Did you torque any of this?
But yeah, no, Billy's ridiculous, and then you got Manny. Like he's an awesome personality for the sport of hard enduro. Like it's hard not to love the guy, and he's just kind of like so goofy. And I feel like, you know, you kind of got these like two guys at the top right now who are they're obviously like great buds. Like you see them hanging out, but like they're similar but different in their own ways. And Manny is definitely more calculated on the bike because like Billy has the ability, but he just doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's just one of those guys that's just down to fully send it. Like even when he does the beach races and all, like
like most people would say, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like if someone like Red Bull hit me up to go do that race or something, I'm like, no, I'm okay. No, I don't think that's a good idea.
I'm just gonna ride my bikes, I'm gonna chill. Like we don't need this.
I know what I'm good at, but like he's good enough and gnarly enough to like, even if that's not his thing, he'll make it happen.
Yeah, he'll make it his thing. Yeah, which is cool. Like I think like the brand side's like, it's one of the other cool things about hard enduro or just like the enduro world is, you know, you're a Sherco guy. There's like the other brands that are there. You've got what else we got? We got obviously all the KTM stuff. You got Sherco. You've got Beta as well. Yeah, I say Beta.
And all the Americans say Beta, but the Europeans say Beta. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I actually I was talking about it this morning. I was talking about it to Wes actually. I need to build an enduro bike. Maybe I'll be a Sherco guy. What sizes have they got?
I got the 300 SC, the 2-stroke.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Do you want to be the Moto guy or
4-stroke?
Four-stroke, yeah.
Because I was telling you, we're doing that race actually. Where's my phone? The dates it's a 3rd of March, or it's like early March, but we're doing
the 500 minute.
Yeah, we're doing the GYPSY Tales 500. It's 500 minute team enduro race or an Ironman, which I've kind of soft signed you up for.
Yeah, he's trying to get me to sign up for it.
Yeah, so it's going to be basically half a lap of the Mesquite World Mini Track, and then you go into the Enduro Loop, which is pretty sandy and whoopy, which should be cool. And they're going to water it too.
Okay. Then I'm a little bit more interested.
Yeah, they're going to water. That's what I said. I was like, the track has to be sick.
Yeah.
Because we do these races at home. So basically, Transmoto, they're like a media magazine kind of outlet. And they do like a 6-hour, an 8-hour, and a 12-hour. And basically, you sign up with your buddies, or you can do it by yourself. But you can either do a solo, a 3-man team, or a 4-man team. And basically, you just get a transponder. It starts at 7 in the morning. It goes till 4 in the afternoon. It's 500 minutes. And you just have to take that transponder round and round as many times as you can until 8 hours is done, and then there's a winner. But no one really gives a fuck because it's just fun.
I'd almost rather just for funsies, like ride it on a 125 or something like that. I have to stop for fuel a lot, but
so it's only I think I'm trying to make
it's a small venue there, so it's not like you're going to be super far out. You're going to do a lot of laps.
Yeah, 20-minute lap time. So I want like a fast dude. Like you'd probably do it in like 15 minutes, and then
fast-ish, depending on the situation.
Yeah, depending on the capacity. Yeah. But yeah, so it's like you basically just, if you're with your boys, you can ride. You can share bikes, you can ride it just doesn't matter what you do as long as someone has a transponder when they're riding around. You can do 3 laps, you can do 1 lap, whatever. But I need to build a bike for that. I need a little enduro thing. And I'm like thinking, I don't know, maybe I should try something other than a KTM.
Sherco 450 maybe.
Do they have any weird capacities?
They have a 300 4-stroke that's actually sick.
That might be the one.
I'm not a 450 guy.
Same.
They're so gnarly.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time I ride one in a moto tracker, I'm like, oh, I missed that rut. Oh, I missed that. Okay, I guess I'm going outside again. Here we go. Yeah. But the 300 4-stroke is like, it doesn't pack like that, like hit that the KTM 350 does, but it's like more like easy to ride.
Yeah.
Like torquey. It's like a super torquey 250F.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I was riding for a while in Enduro-Cross, but it's like the best single tracky off-road bike because it's just, you can't do anything wrong. It doesn't have enough power to like get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Then it's got plenty to pull you around. So like that bike's honestly super fun to ride. So that would probably like,
I've been told by a lot of people. I was almost going to do Fink in Australia a couple years ago, and I think the Sherco like Australia were going to help me out with the bike, and then that's the one that they said.
Yeah, it's just way more manageable, and it's and then they just came out with an all brand new motor from the ground up for like the 250F and 300F platform.
Right.
So I think we pumped those motors up with Race Tech for Enduro-Cross, and then I think we ran it on the dyno, and they saw our numbers, and they're like, oh, we should probably make these stock motors a little bit better. Plus they were, with a smaller brand like that, it's harder to develop as frequently as KTM. So it was on the boards for a new bike. So
yeah. And that just come out? Yeah,
it just came out for 24.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. We might have just sold me.
Might have just sold you.
So they like, what are the components and stuff they got?
Yeah, it's got Brembos and KYB.
Oh, bang.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. People are like, oh, I can't get parts for them. Like most of it is like
just other bike
like
parts.
at home. Like I blew a fork seal, and I'm just like, don't want to spend the time to mail it to Race Tech because it's not convenient for me. Like I just go to the local shop and I got Yamaha fork seals and put it on my bike.
Take it to
like,
Yamaha, dude.
It's easy. I just do it myself. I'm an off-road guy. Like we do these things. I did my own lower fork tube with like no suspension tools. I just like stuff in my toolbox.
No shit.
Yeah.
Fucking gangster.
Kind of. It's a little ghetto, but but then it's funny because like I have like the special like SKF, like the green fork leg or whatever, but then I just bought something at like the local shop and it's like an orange one, so I have like mismatched colored seals on my bike, and I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Dude, have you ever seen the tests, like back-to-back tests of what SKF fork seals, or am I saying it right? It's SKF,
SKF, right? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Have you ever seen the videos? Like if you're at home, Google, like it's actually insane. I fully rate the
color of the seal or
the green seal, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have anything on your fork, it's like completely disassembled, but the inner and the outer tube are together, and you put it in a vise upside down and you drop the fork. Man, that SKF one slaps, right?
Yeah.
And this is like a stock KTM I'm referring to. The stock KTM air fork, you drop it and it's like, and it stops. That is one product that I am not sponsored by or endorsed by, but I fully
believe in it just from that video.
What you can, but you can feel it like on your bike, like when you get your forks back together and you actually just no coatings, no nothing. Those seals actually make a full-on difference.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm doing something right by buying SKF. We're sponsored by them too, so I guess that's probably why I got them on my bike. But.
Yeah, but no, they're actually, I feel like that's a little kind of gem of a product that a lot of people don't realize. Like if you get your suspension revalved and you don't use those seals, you're actually kind of
you're wasting money right now.
Yeah, like you're actually cooking it. Like it makes a big difference.
You think about like factory, supercross teams or something like that. Like obviously they have all the best stuff you can for suspension, but like think about like having your motors, everything polished in there or like resurfaced. Like we did that once for one of my motors, and like I noticed a difference. Like it just seems to rev freer.
Yeah.
I don't know. We did like cryo. I don't know what they did to it, but they took like the clutch basket out and a bunch of other stuff, and basically like it's hardened.
Yep.
And polished, and like things shift easier and stuff like that. So
well, apparently, so Townley was telling me that was, remember that like kind of 06, 07, 08 like PC domination in the early 4-stroke 250 days.
Yeah.
So apparently they used this company in the UK, and they just did all DLC coding.
I know. I've heard of this company. They still make custom transmissions for all the teams, right?
Yeah. Well, so it was just PC.
At the time.
They sourced it, they found it, they started working, and it was kind of a secret for those few years. But BT reckons it's like 4 horsepower.
Really? Just from like friction,
all the coatings,
like,
and like
limiting all the friction in the motor and like less hangups.
Yep. Yeah, he said it was like, I mean, we fucking clickbaited it, of course, but it was like he said it was like legal cheating.
Wow.
And nobody else was doing it. And he's like, man, it was a game changer.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, there's just way less friction going on. Everything probably fits perfectly. I'm sure it's like custom made versus just like a cast piece or something that just is on the assembly line.
Yeah, and then you think about the durability that you would get out of it, and you know, like, because there's everybody. Cody's an engineer too, so I'm talking to a smart guy about this kind of stuff. But
smartish,
smarter than me. So we'll say in context, it's just two of us in this room. So he's the smartest. He's the smartest person in this room. So, but yeah, it was like you think about the like you'd have in a stock gearbox, you'd have like bits of shavings and like shit kind of wearing and coming off. Like,
oh yeah, first time you change your oil on a brand new bike, it's like dark. It's nasty.
Yeah, so you think about like the difference. I really want to do it one day on a bike, but it's like
it's crazy expensive. I'm sure
it's super expensive, and also like bikes just change so much these days that it's like kind of hard to.
I will admit, I found out the hard way like 2 weeks ago that the Sherco 2-strokes are pretty reliable because I changed oil, but I forgot to put oil back in. I literally went riding like 2 days later, and I was like, I did a full warm-up moto for Enduro-Cross since we're like finishing off the Enduro-Cross season. Did like a full warm-up. I'm riding around. I'm like, my clutch seems a little draggy. like really like snappy-ish. And then I'm like, did a full moto, like race pace. And I'm like, the clutch was squalling, and I was like having a hard, it was just like really aggressive. Like basically like a dry clutch would be acting. And then I was like trying to get it to act up again. I'm like, it's never done this before. And I ride back to the van. As I'm putting my bike on the stand, I was like, fuck. Like I realized, so I like checked to make sure, and like I like normally take the filler cap off when I drain it just to like get more like I don't know, air pressure, you know, like push it through. I don't know, that's my thought process. But it was like barely finger tight, and I was like, yep.
Yeah, I did not put
I really messed up. So I was at my buddy's house, and he had a bunch of Moto, which is what we run. So I was like, perfect. Like put some whatever 300V 1540 weight, like whatever in it, and rode the rest of the day. Went home and rode the next like Saturday, Sunday on it. And because I didn't have any new clutch plates, like I was like, I need a new clutch in this thing for sure. So I ordered some Friday. They showed up just because of the weekend. I think they showed up like Tuesday. So I like didn't have time. I didn't want to mess with it. So I rode again Tuesday. Got home, changed the oil. Like, it didn't even look that bad. It smelled kind of burnt. And like the plates weren't even like I've ruined clutches in hard enduros, and like it still looked pretty good. And I was like, wow, like I guess Motul, like shout out to you guys, you got some good oil, because I ran that thing literally just with leftover stuff in the clutch, and did a full moto and everything.
That scares me.
Still good. And I took the clutch out, and I'm like, I'll save this in a plastic bag for later.
yeah. That is an enduro guy. No, you probably put it in a backpack.
no, not that bad.
A camelback, just in case.
Just in case I need this.
Like
on the
full MacGyver spec.
It is pretty good. Like, since I'm on the 2-stroke, it's the same tank across the board from 2-stroke to 4-stroke, but I don't have the fuel pump in the tank. So like, we set up this thing with my mechanic with like some foam, so I have like tools underneath. Like I just pop my seat off, and like all the tools I need are there. And I've actually used it sometimes in races, so like it's better than having to carry tools in your backpack or something like that. You know?
Oh yeah, you don't have to wear like a fanny pack and shit like that. Yeah, you just got that idea from mountain bikes. You're like, hey, specialize. You nailed it.
Heard a SWAT?
Yeah, you nailed it. And I'm doing this now.
I need to patent it for my bike or something. Somewhere or another.
That would be cool to like make some kind of like little aftermarket pouch thing where it's like, I mean, that'd probably make like an external,
there's
but
so
if you
many
could put
things,
it in the bike somewhere.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
You should do it.
Yeah.
We'll just delete this part of the podcast. No one has to hear this bit. We can just cut this bit. That'll just be like a full random subject change, and everyone will be like, that was fucking weird.
I mean, I guess real quick, we're talking about engineering, and we can switch to electric. I did an electric dirt bike conversion kit for my senior project.
Really?
Yeah, for school to graduate.
So what,
I did mechanical engineering for.
So let's go back. All right. So like, let's just start this because I'm interested. I've heard some of the story, but you were a smart kid. You obviously, like doing things. Dad's a mechanic. So what was the thought process? When did you get into motors and the mechanical side of things, and inspired you enough to go to college?
So, I mean, at my house, my dad he probably went to college for like a day, but my dad's like, don't end up like me, it's a curse. So I kind of did the next best thing that was closest to being a mechanic by doing mechanical engineering.
So you wanted to be a mechanic?
I don't think I wanted to be a mechanic, but I would just want to be a mechanical engineer because I was always around dirt bikes.
Yeah.
It was just of interest to me, and I grew up with a dad that was a mechanic that, God bless his heart, shouldn't have done everything himself. I feel like mechanics have like some of the most beat up cars, you know what I mean? Because they don't have the time to work on their own stuff.
Yeah.
So, my dad was always, we bought, I think my first truck was like an 82 Toyota, not like a Hilux. So you guys got the good stuff over there in Australia, but I had an 82 Toyota with like that SR5 with the 22, not the RE. I didn't have injection, but like, it was a part, and I got it for $900, and my dad and I put it together.
That's cool.
So like, we always worked on motorcycles, and I did trials. So like, I was like, I'm gonna do mechanical engineering, and I was always okay with math. And when we did the SATs, the standardized, whatever the hell it is, tests for schools here. Like, I always sucked in the English part, and I hated, I read the books. I was interested in but like you had to do a book report, and I just hated writing it. I just made shit up, and just like, I would, you make your periods bigger. It's like to do
to fill
do double space. There's all the tricks of the trade.
There's a lot of paragraphs in that thing.
Yeah, I always did okay in math, like in schools. I was like, I want to do mechanical engineering. So it took me forever to get through school. I did junior college to save money. And at my house, my parents were like, either you're at school, you get to go to school and we'll pay for you, like you don't have to pay rent or whatever, or you don't go to school and you got to figure your shit out. Yeah. So I was fortunate enough that, or cheap enough, I guess, that I did not go to a 4-year university and did junior college. And I graduated with 4 associate's degrees by the time I even got out of there, just for all the prerequisites for engineering. So I think I had an associate's in math, physics, liberal arts and sciences, which is like what everyone gets, and like engineering technology or something stupid. And then I transferred to like a state school. Yeah. And I was there for 3 years. It's crazy how much like classes you need to take to become an engineer. Like it's not easy. I bet. It's not easy. So yeah, it was right before my senior project. I had to do something that, you have to have a capstone, like something you choose, where it's just like thermo, which is like motors, or controls, which is electronics. And there was like something else, maybe I don't know. I forget what the other one was. I wasn't interested in it. But, I did you kind of do thermodynamics, and then you do like electrical controls. And I did electrical controls, and I hated every fucking lab we did. It was like the dumbest bullshit, like programming something with a little microcontroller, like a printer, like to go to the end and then stop and go back. Yeah. Or it was just dumb shit.
Was it computer programming, or that was like analog?
It was kind of like computer programming. Okay. Yeah. It was something called Arduino. It's like a microcontroller, and it was just like the generic code, like write this, read this. Yeah. If this does that, then do this. Then, yeah. So like super relatively basic, but I had no interest. And then each of those classes, you got to do like a project at the end of the semester for everything you learned. And I was like, I'm going to do a fly-by-wire throttle system, because I had like extra shit in the garage from all the years of riding motorcycles. So I had a set of triple clamps all set up, and I mounted bars on them. Yeah. And I put the microcontroller in the middle, like underneath the bars, underneath the clamps. And then I like rigged up this stupid contraption to hold a key and carburetor, like PWK.
Oh yeah.
So like it was just a model, right? Yeah, but the carburetor sat between like where the forks would normally go, like in the triple clamps. Yeah. And I had a microcontroller up there, and I basically like programmed it, and had I think I bought like a throttle position sensor offline, like off a Mazda pickup. Yeah. So that was connected to the throttle on the bars, and it all went to the controller, and I had
Was it like a standard throttle housing that you used?
It was a stock. It was
just like a conversion,
basically? Yeah, it was a conversion. It was just like theory, right? Yeah. So it was like domino throttle from trials. And I had this, it basically just like read the input of that throttle position sensor, and then I had a servo connected on the cable for the slide, so it made the throttle go up and down. And then I finished in like literally 4 days. I was like, this is so sick. Like I hated everything all because it wasn't something I cared about.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I found something I enjoyed. So I finished it right away, and I'm like, well, I already have everything I need. Like I'm going to do something else. So like I bought an accelerometer and put that on the microcontroller. Yeah. So it basically was a thing to like anti-loop out control. So like if you hold it, like I demonstrated, like you can hold it wide open and you rotate it back, and once you went past like a certain pitch or yaw or whatever, like it would shut off the servo, so it would turn the gas off so you don't loop out. Lower again. Yeah. And then like it had a light on it, so like if you crash for more than 2 seconds leaning over, like you never on a dirt bike leaned over fully for like 3 seconds or whatever. True. So it would turn off a quote unquote ignition. So I was like, this is sick. So I was pumped on it, and then I was like, I'm going to do controls for my capstone, and I had to take that like the next class up of that, and it was the dumbest thing. It was just theory, and it was terrible. But then, you know, the good part was I got situated in the group for senior project that was like, there's stuff that you can choose from like pre-done things that like they want you to do. Yeah, yeah. Or you can like, you know, the entrepreneur one was like, you can do this. So I ended up with a dude that rode bicycles, a dude that rode a street bike and was super into Subarus. Sick. And then another guy was into cars. So like I kind of ended up in this weird like mashup between two wheels and engines group. Yeah, yeah. And
which is dope.
Yeah,
we like
so
those people.
We came up with the concept of, you know, doing an electric dirt bike conversion kit, because everything's about green energy in school. Yeah, you know? Like it's. So yeah, we got a YZ250 that was like had like a broken case on it or something on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace for $800, and then at the time it was at San Jose State University, so that's right by where Zero Motorcycles was located.
Oh, yeah.
So they did like, I think they helped out with the Formula E at that school, and like a lot of like they try and and take
be in the
mix so they can get potential students to come work there. So they gave us a motor and a controller and just a bunch of random wiring and this and that.
That's sick though.
So yeah, we basically had to do all this stuff and made an electric dirt bike.
What, like, and it ran like
it was, we had to like, and obviously like the motor is massive on that electric or whatever Zero Motors cycles, and like their frames are built around it. So like the hardest part was trying to figure out how to get the counter shaft sprocket where it needed to be. Yeah. So we like built this crazy jack shaft. So the motor output shaft on that electric motor was actually on the wrong side of the bike. And then where your sprocket would normally be, like we mounted to the frame these like bearings and another axle. So I had a chain running reverse on the one side, and then the shaft went to the other side. So honestly, it was like a gear reduction thing too. So we can like kind of guess the gearing. Yeah. And then, we bought, I think 16 RC car batteries, which is honestly the sketchiest fucking thing.
They're so sketchy, bro.
Yeah. Cause you need like, you know, like a battery monitoring system. We didn't really have one of those. They were like, you're fine, like for like, if it's like continually charged evenly, and once you get to that thing, like turn it off. Yeah. So like, it was sketchy for sure, but like literally like to charge it, like basically had to take the leads of all the batteries and like bolt them to this charger thing they gave us to get to 100, I think it was like 101 volts. And like, it was so scary every time. And like the leads we had, it was pretty funny, but the leads to charge it were inside the gas tank. So you opened the gas cap and like pulled the leads out.
Oh, that's kind of
charge
cool.
It. Yeah. But yeah, that part was like definitely not to code. Teachers didn't need to know that. But I went 52 miles an hour on it, and we rode it, and it was so cool. Like learned a ton, and you know, plenty of nights during the week hanging out in my buddy's house we stored it at, and just drinking beers and figuring shit out together.
It would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Like it would have been a fun time, especially when you kind of get to do something that you're interested in.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting to us. And I think
was it fly-by-wire as well? Like, so did you take your fly-by-wire?
Yeah, it was. We bought something off the internet that was like a fly-by-wire that was all in-house.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fly-by-wire, and yeah, it was pretty cool. But the scariest thing was they were like, we don't want you to, like sometimes these things can take off. Like we don't want you guys. So we had to go to Zero to plug it in so they can kind of monitor it. Yeah. It was honestly the scariest. I mean, you know how like quick an electric motor can take off? Like we were testing it, things were kind of working, and like, I don't know if we went too far or something happened with but the thing just spun out of control, like woo, and you know that high pitch.
Yeah.
Oh, it like twisted our whole, like we had motor mounts we kind of made like out of big plates. The motor like twisted in the frame, like
whoa.
Yeah, like instant. They killed it like instantly. It was scary.
Yeah, well, dude. So remember back in the day, the drones we used to fly, like before the DJI stuff took over, we had those big octocopters made out of carbon, and you'd have like these 2 huge LiPo batteries on them. And bro, we had some sketchy fucking moments with those things. Like we were one day, so the blades are, I don't know what, like 8 inches
Yeah,
long,
that's what I was thinking, 8 inches or
like,
so.
and they're
One
like
of those bigger ones.
Yeah, carbon fiber, 8-inch fucking murdering machines, and there's 8 of them on this thing. I remember one day we're in the front yard of their house in Temecula, and we just bought I think like a new control system or something, because you had to build everything, and I don't know fucking anything about that stuff, right? So my partner Jay, did you ever meet Jay?
I'm pretty sure.
Reinenberg, you probably would have. But he was the dude that owned JDR. Anyway, so we were in like the film stuff together. And he actually grew up flying model planes, and he was super, super smart dude. So he would build all of the control systems and the batteries and all that sort of stuff. And like, so we put this new controller in this thing one day, and dude, it just
something
went.
goes wrong. Like it doesn't connect, and like it just gets a mind of its own.
Bro, it went. We're so lucky what happened. Like it went up and just sideways at like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and just hit the side of the house and just exploded into 1,000,000 pieces. And we were like, that's kind of gnarly. Like that's flying a $70,000 camera, and we had so much shit like that. And then one day, this was my peak fucking drone battery experience. So we made our own like gimbal. So there was like, when Movies were coming out, they were like 15 grand or something. We're like, fuck that, we can build
this is all turbos and like stuff you can kind of do it yourself.
Yeah, it's drone stuff. So like we kind of rigged up this frame and everything, and then I was at Bubba's house in his full fucking Florida mansion. Like the place is immaculate, and I just set my camera bag down, and we're doing this film in there, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, try to inconspicuously like leave the shoot in a mad hurry, and my fucking camera bag was on fire because one of the camera battery, the
monitoring system didn't work, or you didn't have one,
it just decided to just light up, dude. And so this thing's like fizzing like with sparks and smoke out of this battery. Had no idea what to do, bro. I'm just like, holy fuck.
Just chuck it in the pond at
literally.
that point.
I just was like, just threw this battery.
I mean, it's still happening now. Like you see videos in the news of like these e-cars, like just shit. If it takes off, it doesn't stop. Like,
well, you know, it's crazy too. Like I ride the Stark a bunch. Like I've got one at my house. I fucking love it. It's the best thing, like the funnest thing to ride, right? And then I saw Trey Kennard. Did you see the videos of him at the Japanese?
I saw he got taken out and the throttle broke or something. But
so he had the wristband like on a jet ski.
Oh, dead man switch.
And I'm just like,
maybe I need one of those too.
I really need that. Like, dude, I've been riding this thing. Like, if you're on it, I mean, there's no clutch. There's no, like, that. The things I've never had fucking, like, we're good. But I'm like, wow, that should fully be a thing, because, like, if you're...
They're insane.
It is. Did you see the video of my fucking start at Glen Helen?
Yeah, those bikes they get the insane starts.
Insane.
And, like, my buddy, he was sponsored by Alta, and like Ty Tremaine podiumed like one of the Enduro crosses on an Alta.
Really?
Back in the day, he got third on it.
Have you ridden one of the new
ones? I
ones?
rode the Alta. I haven't ridden the Stark yet, but like I rode the Alta, and it was like hard pack, and I was like, I don't know how to ride this thing on a hard pack track. Like it instantly would just light the rear end up, and I was like, there's no like signal to my brain from the sound.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a new way to learn how to ride. Like I think on a Lomi track it'd probably be okay, because it'll like kind of break down that load, but it was crazy, like so fast. And then a friend of mine, he runs like electric cycle rider, like YouTube, and sells electric stuff. I'm sure you've probably seen some of his stuff.
I met him at Barcelona. He's a really nice dude.
Yeah, he's super rad.
He went to Barcelona for the Stark thing.
Yeah, so
I'm thinking of the right guy.
Yeah, same exact guy. Tucker, I believe his name is.
Yep.
So I rode with him. I won't say what he was on, but I did have to push him back. He was on his electric bike, and I had to push him back on my gas bike. I got to throw that one out there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But Stark showed up to TKO this year, and they had an actual electric hard enduro class. Because I think right now it's kind of maybe the only thing where those bikes can like finish and be successful because of the battery limitations. I mean, I'm sure Stark will probably figure it out.
Or put them in a shit rider's hands at World Vets and it'll finish.
Yeah, that too.
yeah.
But they had the Stark there and David Knight, who, you know, he was a bad motherfucker. Still can ride a bike pretty good too, but like he rode it in the qualifier, and I think he like, you can detune him, and he rode it at like the 40 horsepower range.
Yeah.
Because it's like slippery, nasty rocks. And he was like, that was even too much.
Yeah. But the crazy part about it, like I was trying to explain to my mate Franco, he was our mechanic for World Vets, but he's, you know, like you get bike mechanics, but they can't even change a piston. He was like
you don't have to do it there. It's fine.
Yeah, he was like a car mechanic. So he like built race motors, like the entire thing in race cars. So he like really understands motors.
Yeah.
And I'm telling him, I'm like, all right, on a 450, for example, it's like when you're at, let's say Glen Helen, when you're coming into Talladega, you're in fourth gear, maybe fifth gear, and you're like wide open. Like if you crack the throttle, like you don't have all the torque.
Yeah, it's like it pulls, but it's not like a...
You don't have, like you can't just, like you can't be 3/4 of the throttle and then you crack the throttle and the wheel spins. Like that's just not how torque works on a combustion motorcycle. But on the Stark, like if you're in 80 horsepower or 70 or 60 and you're like 3/4 throttle going into Talladega and you're doing 98 k's an hour and you crack you'll spin the wheels.
It goes again,
the torque and the horsepower, they're different numbers, but it's like the way I would explain it is like no matter what horsepower you're set at, like you still have all of the torque of like that bike is capable
instantaneously. It's wild.
It is insane.
Obviously I did that electric dirt bike conversion thing, but like,
which is where they got the idea for Stark, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. I'm still waiting for my royalties. But like what I learned from that, and then obviously riding some of the other ones since then, is like the motor is not the issue on these bikes. Like the motor is...
You could make them so much faster.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
And like the programmability and what you can do with mapping, like it shits on anything you can do on a normal internal combustion engine. Like the limitations are endless, or like you can't, it's just endless. You can do anything with that motor. You can make it for a little kid, or you can make it for someone who can't even ride the thing. But like, obviously the batteries we're still working on that.
Yeah. Well, dude, perfect example. Like my wife, like, so she lived in Bali for a while. So she got really good at riding scooters. And so she was like riding scooters around forever. And then I put her, when she moved to Oz, I was like, all right, let's go ride. And she's like, I want to ride to 350. She's like 5'11", so I'm not really going to put her on a pit bike kind of thing. It'd be like worse than trying to put her on a big bike. So
all scrunched up with her knees all high.
She's like, I'm just not into it. So I put her on my 350 and I'm like trying to teach her the whole kind of thing. And the whole time she's just like it's very, like there's so much more going on, right? The day I got the Stark, I just tuned it down to like maybe 20 horsepower. And it's just literally riding a scooter in Bali again, you know, and to be able to go to the track and I moto that thing and then she wants to go for a ride, she can zip around and like you just literally just, and the Glen Helen, like for World Vets, the first moto that I did, I just realized that I hadn't ever ridden a VARG on a track that rough. And so I rode Parla Sunday, super smooth. And I rode it on the setting, the engine brake setting that I come off the track with at Glen Helen for the last moto. And the bumps were so big that I just wanted to take all the engine braking out of the bike so that it'd just, because the bumps slowed the bike down so much. Like, because you're just every corner, like you're going up into these bumps. And then just that programmability of being able to, and I'm on the track doing my first lap of Parla and I'm like, I'll give it a little bit more. I'm like, I still kind of want more, because you can actually like chop the throttle and turn off basically the engine brake and you don't really have to touch the brakes. But yeah, just the little finger slide of while you're on the track, it takes 2 seconds. It's just like...
Does it have like regenerative braking too? Yeah. Which probably isn't that much, but it wouldn't maybe a little bit.
It wouldn't fuck all. Like, I don't think it makes too much of a difference.
It's just for marketing purposes.
Yeah, but the actual effect of the engine braking on the bike is like super dramatic. And I back-to-backed a 450, like a 2024 Husky 450. That, like, literally same moto. My buddy was riding the Stark. I rode the 450, and then I got on that. Oh, no, I went Stark to 450. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this is not okay. Like, just how much engine braking and how bound up the motor felt on the like, a combustion bike. It's just insane, the difference. And I think, once the tech kind of catches up, because obviously... it will.
Yeah, it will. I mean, I'm like, basically right now I'm super old school. I've just decided to stick to the 2-stroke year round now.
Yeah, like, you don't even go to the 4-stroke. Yeah, you don't.
But like, I get on the 4-stroke now and I'm like, it's like I got Jake brakes. Like I can't. It's hard for me to ride that thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like I can see on what you're saying with the Stark, like you start on that and you're like zipping around and like probably just. You can almost come into corners faster, maybe. I don't know. But like then you get on some of the engine braking, you go to let off and you're like, whoa, I actually could have been kept going here because I didn't expect the bike to slow down so much.
Well, that happened to me. So I ripped that start at Glen Helen and then I come into the first corner. I've never hit that corner from the inside, like where I started, because I just have only ever practiced there.
You sort of go swooping outside,
yeah. So I was like lined up. I had the shitty gay pick, and then I was like, well, McGrath started here, so I just like pulled in. He went first, then there was another gate, then there was ours. So I was like, I'm just gonna go on MC's gate. But yeah, I was fucking like 4 bike lengths in front of everybody, and then I slammed on the brakes, but I had so much regen, like engine braking, the bike just fucking almost stopped, dude. And as soon as I hit the brakes, I was like, no, like you just fucked up the gnarliest best start of your life. But yeah, it was that. I just had way too much engine braking, and then going out there with how rough it was, the bike was just, I had to be on the throttle almost the whole way around the track.
Because but you have the ability though to like understand, like say the pros race their first practice, they're like, oh, this is not what I need right now. I need to back this off.
Yeah.
So like you have that ability, whereas like we did a ton of mapping testing. I rode the Sherco 4-stroke for Enduro-Cross, and it was like
the 300.
Yeah, France was like mailing us maps to upload and like the time zone, and it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Thing.
Yeah.
You
know what I mean? So like we get like 4 maps the next day, and they're like, this is one with less engine braking, and I'd go to put it in, and it would be like, you would go and you'd let off the gas, but it would just be like a high hanging idle, and then it would be like, no. And I'm like, this isn't, what are you guys talking about?
Isn't engine braking.
This is like, you're just keeping the gas on a little bit.
Yeah. Dude, you know, have you ever worked with Jamie at Twisted Development?
We did just briefly, but didn't really get
the results.
Yeah. Well, it was like, he's so busy with everything else, and it was like a side project.
Yeah.
So like, they threw a get on and did some motor work, but it was on the Sherco 450, so I didn't actually...
You didn't end up riding that one anyway. Well, so he did... It's funny. I actually haven't spoke to him since. I need to call him and tell him, but he did a map for me and my 350, and he's like, try this. It's like kind of a novelty map, where it's like, he basically made my 350 have no engine braking.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Which is what I think... I'm so used to the 2-stroke.
Yeah.
Like,
you would love it, man. Like, so I practiced with it at Glen Helen. It was like the Thursday or the Tuesday before the race. And then he's like, if you just click the switch, it'd be like basically max power, max torque. Like, that's our sick map for the bike. He's like, but if you want a really cool, fun map, like, you should definitely try this. And I could not believe the difference. And he's like, what'd you think of it? And I'm like, man, I wouldn't run that. Like, that's too much. But then... after riding the Stark, when shit got really rough and knowing how much, and I went from like what 65% or whatever to like 20. Like, it was that big of a jump to get the bike to roll. I was like, dude, that's actually insane. And I ended up racing the 350 in a couple of the motos because just the battery charging. Like, I was race 12, 15, and 17, and they were 20-minute motos. So they were like, get off the track, go back, get some water, put some fuel in for the the bike or put some charge in it, go back. So anyway, I ended up having to do 2 motos on the 350, and I was just like, thank God for that, like that engine braking.
With your mean map.
Yeah, but because I then going back to Parla, I was just like, this is such a crazy, weird advantage to where you can just fully set your bike to like, this is what I'm feeling, this is what the track condition calls for, I really want to roll, or I need some extra help stopping. And the crazy thing is, on the stock, so I was I probably cheated too, by the way. Like, I just don't even know if I was allowed to ride that bike.
No one said anything.
But everyone seemed pumped. I was doing 70 horsepower for the start, and then I built my map. Map 1 was my start map, so I'd go click down, go into map 1, and then as soon as I come around the first turn, I went into map 2, and that was 60 horsepower.
Yeah.
So just instantly dropped 10.
It's got like the 2 buttons on the left, right?
Yeah.
And then you got like a Android tablet up on the front there.
Yeah, literally, you've got like your dashboard.
I gave my buddy, they were at Tennessee Knockout, which has 0 signal. I mean, you've been there, right?
Yeah.
An absolute swamp sweat fest out there.
Bro, that was a fucking gnarly, that was a gnarly shoot the year I did it.
But it was gnarly every year. But there's no signal out there, and he like hadn't logged in like 2 weeks. So he couldn't, I'm like, let's see this thing, dude. I want to ride this, like, not ride it, but like, I want to start this thing up and hear it spin. Like, I haven't seen one yet. It was all exciting. And we turned it on, and he like couldn't log in, like type his email. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's a dirt bike, bro.
Yeah. I had the same
shit. I was like, what do you do? Like, so you run out of battery, you plug in the nearest charging station on your maps. Like, I was just talking bad shit.
Yeah.
But he ended up, like, people had Wi-Fi out there, so he got logged in, and then it was fine. But I think it like auto logged out after like 2 weeks or something like that.
It happened to me at Parla the other day. I just stupidly said yes to an update while I was at the track.
Just waiting to ride.
And so I said yes to the update, but then the fucking data ran out on the thing.
No.
So then I'm like, my wife's like, what are you doing, dude? It's 11 a.m. and you haven't even rode yet. And I was like, fucking the app. I did the update, but now I got a hotspot off my iPhone to the Android. I'm like, this is a shit show right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I just laugh at the tablet on there.
I'll say, like,
I understand it, but also I'm like, I just do the buttons with a light. Give me green light, yellow light, red light. Like, which one's slow and fast?
Yeah.
But I obviously had to talk shit when it didn't have signal and he couldn't log in. I'm like, dude, what is this thing?
There's going to be a lot of that.
I know.
Like,
now it's going to be Face ID to open your bike, you know?
Yeah, you'll see people like lifting their chin bars up on their helmet to try and open their bike.
We'll see if it gets there. Hopefully not.
Well, I
guess it prevent bike stealers, you know, when they go to Supercross in Oakland or something, you know, people getting their bikes stolen anymore.
Yeah, good luck. But I will say,
they'll be hacking them.
The bike, I'll say, like, handles is good. It's like better to ride.
Yeah, it's got great components, and like you look at the build quality, and like I was trying to like see it best I could, and like it's got like a legit, like, from the trials bikes, like a mini radiator and fan underneath there, so it's like water cooled. Like, yeah, it seems like you know, they put their homework into it. Yeah, and the thing is, that's version 1. Yeah, you know, and I think that's probably, there's obviously like they're fully going, they're like, they were the first ones. Yeah, I mean Alta, but those guys, they made some bad decisions with where they were paying for their rent in San Francisco, right by the airport. Like, yeah, their burn rate was steep, and then they stole a bunch of engineers from Tesla. Well, not stole, but you know, they gave them better. Oh, really? Yeah, so they had like some Tesla engineers there for the battery side of things, and that probably costed a pretty penny, which obviously needed, but I wonder if like they just had a mad burn rate and couldn't contain it. Yeah. Well, I guess the point is, like, it's version 1. Yeah. And it's fucking sick. Yeah. And it's definitely, like, if this bike gets better, if in 2 years I get a version 2 and it's better than this bike, like, fuck, that's pretty gnarly, you know. And I'm it's curious just to going see to like get better. The push now from the other brands. Like, you got Canard doing a bunch of testing, and like, I didn't expect them to release that, but they released it. I'm like, I mean, it makes sense. Like, yeah. It, like, I don't know who's, like, the world is just pushing for the green aspect of it, you know? So I guess it's friendly and then it's not super loud, but then, you know, you got to charge it with your generator at the track, so that doesn't help. But like Yamaha, I know they have like an electric trials bike that's pretty sick. Okay. And then I rode EM Electric Motion, they have a trials bike. I think they're a French brand.
Yeah.
And they have like an actual real clutch. Like I think they have like a lower, like a bottom end from a motorcycle.
That was one of my suggestions that I kind of made to Stark. That's the other.
It'd be nice, but it's kind of weird. It doesn't work. Like you can't really boost that power. It's like kind of like
you can't like load it up.
Yeah,
in the
original.
way.
I rode one a long time ago, early rendition, and it was like a double switch. Like it was like fucking with my mind trying to ride it. Like it was like an on-off switch here,
yeah,
and a clutch, and then off switch.
Yeah.
Whereas the new one I rode, you can like almost kind of build the power on it, but like sometimes I ride people's bikes and I'm like, how the fuck do you ride this thing? Like what? This thing feels terrible. Like I'm literally trying to ride with this bike and do technical stuff on it and just see how it works. And it's like the clutch is all the way in against. And it's like, it's just rolling forward on me. I'm like, dude, your clutch is in the worst position. Like you can't even use your clutch. I don't know why you have it on there.
Yeah.
And like the front end's all loose and clanky. I'm like, you ride this thing?
And what brand is that?
It's called Electric Motion.
Okay. I haven't even seen.
Yeah, they're French. They have that weird, you probably haven't seen it, but it's like FIM Explorer series.
Yes. Yeah. I've met those guys. Okay. Yeah,
honestly, like I was like, what is this? This looks kind of cool. And then like I had a couple of friends race it and I was like seeing their stories. I'm like, this is the biggest crock of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But they have a bike in that. It's kind of like a weird crossover hybrid. Like Suron is like a weird hybridish bike. So they have like a pretty legit trials bike, and then it's not like a dirt bike. It's like it's a dirt bike, but it's not like a Stark. It's one of those hybrid bike things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it should be around. Like, I mean, for me, I think about being able to like buy property kind of close. Like, there's the perfect example.
Town, or like my kid has a Stacyc. Like,
oh, bro, your kid's gonna be a savage.
So like
purely because of those things,
you can just do whatever on a Stacyc, and no one cares. Like, no one said a negative thing to him.
Yeah, and think about I'm just here for the Stacyc generation. Like how many crazy...
Have you seen the whips kids throws on those things? Like
it's insane. You
watch commercials, like I saw a Stacyc commercial and I was like, I quit right now. I'm done. That was
really?
Insane. Yeah, it was like a 6-year-old kid like throwing a pancake, like unreal.
Yeah, well think about, what's that Lynx? Have you seen that kid?
No. I've seen him before. Yeah, I've seen him.
But like,
I don't follow him, but like it's popped up and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like, but think about an entire generation. Like I remember being a kid and just desperate to ride my 50 in the backyard, and it was like a once in a month thing where dad would be like, all right, just for 10 minutes you can ride your 50 just so you don't piss off the neighbors. And it was just like a box, like residential kind of like backyard, and it was like around the clothesline, fucking in near the pool, and then back behind the shed, and then you do a U-turn, and then you
lap after lap.
Yeah, like, just over, and then dad's like, all right, cut it off, like you're done. But just think about being a kid now, like your kid with the Stacyc, and it's just like all day, right in the fucking house if you want. Like, just
like I ran into like a little Mini X and dug like a little track out for him. He's not as pumped about it as I am, but I think he'll get there one day.
Yeah. But it gives kind of kids that chance where it's like, because I remember, dude, I don't know if it's the same for you, but just like one of the scariest things ever as a kid was being strapped onto a dirt bike by yourself for the first time, and the motor's going, and
trying to learn how to use the clutch, and your dad's yelling at you.
Yeah.
Probably still traumatized from that.
But think about, like, I had a couple crashes on like P-Dub 50s. And like I distinctly remember the fear of just being wide open on a 50 and just
into a fence or something like that.
Yeah, and I hit a car door once. That one was bad. And then I just a fence. Like my dad used to take me to ride at the boat ramp, like the park. Like there was a dirt lot at our boat ramp, and it was just like crocodile signs and my 50 and mangroves. But yeah, like how gnarly the barrier to entry is as a kid to be on like a 50, and you know how scary it is. Like I see kids all the time where they're like kind of scared to get on the bikes and shit. Like
the noise kind of scares them too.
Yeah, and the vibration and the power, and it's like these things are just so much more manageable.
Yeah, it's honestly been a huge improvement, I think. And like now, like you said, this future is scary. Like what these kids will be capable of.
Yeah, no, 100%. As an engineer, one thing that I actually spoke to Anton, which that's kind of another cool thing with Stark, is like I can just call the CEO and he'll be like, what did you think of the bike this weekend? And I'm like, well, this is what happened.
Is he Spanish also, or?
No, he's Swedish. Super cool, like awesome dude. Like I can't remember, it was like 6 a.m. and he's like, just FaceTime me, I want to talk. It was like 11 here. But there was a couple things I figured out with the bike. Like you basically, like with the chain like the chain axle blocks, like they've got their own custom thing. It's like we just couldn't get the adjustment right. Like I couldn't get the bike long enough with like the stock chain. We had to add another chain, but then that made it kind of like too long. So we had to really figure out the wheelbase sort of thing on it. And there was like just all these little things, and I'd spoke to him about it because he wanted the feedback, and he's like, oh, we've actually got them in production now. And so there's all just like these little things.
They know what's going on and they're able to react quick because they're like still small enough, I guess.
Yeah. But the thing that I said I kind of wanted, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts as an engineer. I want the opposite of fly-by-wire. Like, so I want a cable, but on the electric bike. Yeah. Because I hate fly-by-wire. Like the feel just sucks, dude.
You need to like have someone like design like a spring inside there that gives you the feel.
Yeah.
And then you probably wouldn't think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's more like there's something to do with the cable. You get like a bit of stretch.
Oh, there's like the little ridges on it sometimes, you know? Like,
and you get like resistance.
Yeah, I just feel like you can kind of like feel the ridges of the cable.
Yep.
As you turn it.
Yep. And that, it's as weird.
That's how, like that one knockoff one I made for like the little project. It literally had like the cable I cut mounted to a thing, so like you still had that.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up, because I'm like,
so you could do something like that, but mine was obviously janky, but they can do something good.
Yeah, because it's funny though, so I was talking to Jack Miller about it, and he was saying that Ducati wanted to do fly-by-wire they want to go that direction on the MotoGP bikes, and he was like, nope. So they made like a cable that,
and I feel like the cable thing, to me, it's like more of a safety. I don't know why I think of it like, I just think of old school fly-by-wire systems where like if something goes wrong, it's a loose unit and you can't control it. Whereas like I feel like if there's a cable attached to it, it'll probably shut off. Yeah. Well, you get fatigued from having to be so precise with it.
You know, and like on a moto you can, not that it's not a moto, like on a cable throttle, you kind of rest on it. And it's like the way that it wears, like there's something in the feel of like when a cable kind of starts to wear and it gets a bit of dirt and a bit of grit. Like
you sound like your dad right now or something. Like, I don't know if your dad talks like that, but like the old school vibe, or like the people who are like, oh, I can't do a start with a hydraulic clutch. Like I need cable, but like I get it. Like I do get it.
There's something there. Like there's definitely, because I don't get that much arm pump, you know, but then it's like when you've got to like there's a couple of points like
you go too hard on an electric bike, you're done, you're looping out, like the thing's gonna not kick into gear, but like it's taken off. So like
it's going.
I see what you mean, where like on the especially 4 strokes, sometimes 2 strokes too, but like you can just get on a little bit harder and it's not gonna bite you.
Well, you're almost like resting on the cable, like that whatever resistance, like your brain gets very used to how much resistance, and full throttle on a bike feels different to just like turning it, you know, quarter throttle. It's like it's so progressive and just everything's
it's too digital feely with the fly-by-wire. Like with the analog, with the cable, it just, you know what it's going to do, and I know exactly what you mean, and it just feels better. Yeah. And then you get on this thing and you're like, I don't know what it's doing. Like the first time I rode the Alta, I was like, I don't trust this motorcycle. It's too fast. Yeah. Like I don't know when it's going to take off or when I don't have enough. Like that was my issue. Yeah. With it. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas the cable, I don't know. It's like obviously the motor too on a normal dirt bike, but it was just something new, and it was like I think it's a learning process that needs to be done.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like you get used to it and it's not a big deal. But if you had to say like, what would you, like, I'll put it this way. If there was an aftermarket company that made a cable conversion for a Stark Varg, that's what I'd want to run.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Like, Stark hard parts. Yes, please. I'm getting one of those.
A mock-up clutch.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. But I thought about that the first time I ever rode an e-mountain bike. Like, you kind of get in the pinch. The Varg's so much smoother. The power, obviously, it has like a throttle. But I remember the first like kind of gnarly, pinchy climb that I did on a mountain bike.
It was like it wasn't there or it was there, and you're like, this isn't. I need like a flywheel weight or something in here to smooth it out.
Well, I thought, like, you know where you got the dropper post?
Yeah.
You almost just need like a little kind of modular. I don't know what it'd be. It's just like a little
for a second, so it doesn't spin.
Yeah, just a fake clutch where it's just like there was just a curve that was attached to, like, coded into it, and it's like as it went in, and it was just like a weird kind of S curve, you know.
I was at Thunder Valley a couple weeks ago, and Tucker from Electric Cycle Rider was out there. He had like an X Pro from the area come out, and he was just kind of wanted shooting content and like a fast dude's opinion of the bike, and like he rode it for quite a while. I asked him what he thought it would last straight up if he was like motoing, and it was respectable, I'd say. But like there's like the pretty big whopper there, like the triple in the back, and like the battery was kind of starting to go down, but like he was still hitting it. Yeah. And I was like, you're kind of gnarly, bro. But he was also saying how like he didn't need the clutch. Like it wasn't necessary on the bike. No. But he said he kept finding himself like coming off something and like landing with like his finger out, like the clutch was there, and he would land and then he'd be like, oh, and like grip on the bar again.
Well,
so
dude, I
saw your blister. Like literally when you showed up at the coffee shop, we were chatting there, and I'm like, that's a weird blister.
Well, so I don't know if the camera can see it, but I did so many 20-minute motos this year. Like, we committed to the whole vets thing like January 1. We were like, we're fucking doing it. And then I bought running shoes, and like our group, we did it, you know. And I just did 20 after 20 after 20 after 20, and like my hands I got like good blisters on them, and like I was not worried about it. That was one of my things. I was like, I just don't want fucking blisters.
Yeah, and then you're smoked.
And then I didn't realize, but because you don't have that finger out there, and you're not kind of going back and forward, like you're just in one spot the entire time, and it was a position I hadn't trained. And man, like I ended up having Tuesday, because I rode Tuesday, Thursday, and then the Saturday, Sunday for the race. Tuesday I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get some blisters here. So then I was like taping it up, and then after the race we got the footage. I like pull the tape off, and just all this skin comes, my hand just starts bleeding. I was like, holy shit, dude. But yeah, it's from just being in a weird position. Yeah,
that's a new blister. I've never
never
death grip position.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't know, you sort of, obviously when your elbows are up or whatever, like you're kind of pointing in, but yeah, there's like a lot of cool new shit, but it was fun, like to just experience a new thing. And like the bike, if I started the weekend with the bike that I rolled off the track with for the last race, I would have been stoked, you know, like because we just changed so much like throughout the weekend, because it's just a different kind of new thing.
Yeah, and figured it out a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see when that'll start coming out more for pro racers at some point, or other brands, and like hard enduro stuff. Like for sure, Enduro-Cross it could work. Yeah. Because it's so short.
Yeah.
And Alta went to Erzberg one year.
Yeah.
And I think my buddy, Ty Tremaine qualified front row actually.
Really?
On it, but like I think he maybe made it to checkpoint 7
out of 30
out of like 26. So, but I mean, there's gnarly deep hill climbs there. Like everyone's seen the footage at Erzberg, and like, so I guess it was heavy too. I think the Starks get lighter at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're still heavy, but like V1, you know, like I think that's kind of the cool part about it. And I was talking to a buddy this morning, and we were sort of going through the whole World Vets thing. He's like, if you could own one bike forever, what would it be? I'm like, it has to be a 350. Like if I want to ride to the tip of Australia with my friends and do a 3,000 kilometer, that's what it is. Like at no point, I would say that the Varg will be like the fucking world's best motocross bike. Like there's just not a bike or maybe the Honda or whatever. Like for just straight out getting a lap time on a motocross track or an enduro-cross track, that's what's going to be the move. But it's like, you can't do everything. Everything that's possible on a dirt bike cannot be done on those bikes.
Yeah. Who knows? I guess just the battery limitation, like we said.
Yeah. So if you, engineering wise, like, do you think about when you're done riding, like that's something that you'll keep going with and make it into a career? Or have you ever thought about like the things that interest you in that lane and what you do?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just keeps creeping up on me, that thought. I'm still trying to hold it off best I can. And
not that you're close to
I'm
being
35 now, so I don't know. I still feel young, but then I like look
You went to Australia with Mike Brown, and he was like 93 when you did that
trip. Mike's another animal, though.
Bro.
I guess I'm still hanging in there, but like my wrist is trash. It gets by.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to stay something related to the industry and do something with development side of things. And honestly, the electric side of thing really does interest me because it's kind of like a ground up operation where, you know, you're not reinventing the wheel, but you're kind of doing a lot of these things for the first time, you know, like it's like a huge hats off to like Triumph. I mean, you could kind of copy a lot of the stuff that's already out there, but like they built something from
nothing,
zero. So and just what I did before with my senior project, I think I could get hired at one of these places at least. So that's job security.
Yeah.
And then I do have a little bit of a resume to at least keep them interested in hiring me, especially as an engineer and pro racer on the, you know, super technical side of things. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know of another rider that's got your pedigree, history, background, you know, like
not that many. I mean, I know, like, you know, he was a kid from Michael Akaiden. He like barely was qualifying for main events.
Yeah, but he's not Cody Webb.
But like he's a mechanical engineer and made it happen, but not Cody Webb, I guess, as you put it. So yeah, it's something that interests me, but I still just enjoy riding, and it's awesome, and the freedom aspect, and there's something about sitting behind a desk that scares me, especially because I interned at Bell Helmets for a little bit since there, and it was really fun for 2 weeks. I broke helmets every single day and just collected data, and like this helmet was cold, it was hot, like helmet soaked, like the weirdest tests you could ever imagine, and it was sick. Like just breaking things was fun. And then it was kind of before they came out with the Moto 10, and they were working on some other stuff. So I basically spent like just 8 hours a day, a couple of days, like 2 days a week, because I was racing for him, right? So like it was kind of just like a weird partnership type deal.
Yeah.
But I just sat at a desk and did CAD and surfacing on SolidWorks, and it was just not cool.
Not it.
Yeah, it's not it for me.
Yeah.
Like the highlight of my day was the lunch ride. Like, you know, like I'm sure other companies are like that, like a Fox or and it's like they go like specialized. They go out on a lunch ride and it's just like an absolute burner and everyone kills themselves. Yeah. Trying to prove a point. Like that was the highlight of every day. So that's why I'm still riding motorcycles.
What's an average day in the life of you look like these days?
It's way different than it used to be.
Yeah, I bet.
But average day now, for like a while now, it was, well, I would be waking up at 5 a.m. because the kids are asleep. Well, no, they're still sleeping. So wake up at 5, I go to the gym at 6, and then I'm back home probably around like 7:15 and help get my son ready for school, take him to school. And then if I'm going riding that day, like I would drop him off and then go riding from there, or go home, maybe kind of adjust a couple of things and go ride my dirt bike. So I try and get that stuff knocked out of the way as much as possible. And then we are somewhat remodeling our house we moved into. So then the afternoon consists of, like putting new lights in or like hanging sheetrock in around the fireplace. And then we have a 7-month-old. So my wife's like, can you please take her for an hour? Like I haven't got anything done. I'm like, all right. So then I get nothing done and I'm like trying to vacuum one-handed. Like life has just got more hectic. And like I said, like I don't want to go to the gym at 6 a.m., but like, that's the time slot I have available because no one else needs me or needs my attention. So that's kind of my escape time to kick my own ass. And then, you know, depending on the day of the week, I'll go ride mountain bikes with friends, or I'll, you know, during the hard enduro season, I'll disappear for 3 hours or something like that and just suffer on some trails I have in the mountains. And so honestly, Enduro-Cross is an easier part of the year because I can drop my kid off from school, maybe go home and like work on my bike for a second and load up and go to my Enduro-Cross moto. So it's super simple, but it's just more regimented and like it's not as fun to me. something about the hard enduro side of things. I just like.
Yeah, you've always loved that.
I
shit.
like the adventure side of it, and like feeling like no one's done this before. Whereas like just clicking off lap after lap is over it. And then I'm in Colorado, so like normally during the week I try and go to Thunder.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday just to cross train and ride moto.
That's
so
sick.
I'm the dude on a 2-stroke with a headlight out there.
Yes, the headlight gang. I love the headlight gang.
There was one time out there I felt like I was just ripping. I was like, yeah, like no one was touching me. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere I hear a 2-stroke. I'm like, who the hell is this kid? I look behind me and Ben LeMay works there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I'm like,
He's
okay,
fast.
it's fine. You can pass me.
Yeah. Well, Colorado would be a pretty dope spot to be like in your line of work.
Yeah, it's really awesome for like spring, summer and fall, and then winter. I gotta drive south a little bit. So we have spots south of us, which is it's just like a weird banana belt that doesn't get hit with as much snow. So there's plenty of hard enduro stuff. My buddy kind of has a jink. We just got to spend the time and effort to put an enduro cross track. But like I said, I only ride enduro cross when I need to.
Yeah.
But this winter I'm thinking about, I got 2 bikes at the house and a trials bike and plenty of mountain bikes. So I think I'll leave a van in Arizona with trials bike, dirt bike, and a mountain bike and kind of go back. I got like just so many flight miles. I can just go back and forth essentially for free.
Oh, sick.
So I'll just fly back and forth and leave my van at a buddy's house.
Yeah. What inspired the move to Colorado? Because I love Colorado. It's such a great state.
It's super awesome, but like my wife went to school there, so like we kind of had friends there. But honestly, mostly it was being in California, and we had our son in January of 2020. And then like 6 weeks after that, we're like in San Diego actually hanging out with friends, and my wife was at a convention, and it was like everything was on news about COVID and the pandemic, and I was like, oh, this will blow over. It's fine. Like swine flu all over again. And then like we got home and boom, I was like, everything's done, and I'm in California and we're in NorCal. We were kind of like Bay Area-ish, San Jose, that type of area. And like we had our son, it was like we couldn't, like everything was like shut down and afraid. And for a while, it was like the sickest thing ever because I had my van, so I looked like a important person, or whatever. I was going to work, I had my incognito van, so I was just going riding every day, no traffic, just like this is sick. And then there was like no racing and none of this and none of that, and it was like, this is maybe not as this is still going on and not as cool as I thought it was. And then we're paying outrageous property tax for like terrible schools.
Yeah.
Well, my kid wasn't near it. He's in school now, but like the amount of money you're spending on property tax for like some of the worst schools in the country.
Yeah.
And I would go like some of the East Coast started having some races. Like I did a GNCC just for the hell of it because they were still having that.
Yeah.
And then I would come home and it was like depressing. Like we couldn't even eat outdoors at a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, we had our kid and things I was just in a bad space mentally, I feel like. And I think we were ready for something different and exciting. So we kind of went somewhere that was a little more middle ground, I guess. Yeah. And we were in Denver for a little bit and I couldn't do that anymore either. Just tweakers in your alley walking around like, so, I mean, they're everywhere in like a big city, right? So now I'm at 7,400 feet in the mountains, foothills, and I got pine trees and a little bit of property. And, it's difficult because there's no amenities nearby. Like we have like a mac and cheese restaurant and a saloon and a post office, and that's it where I'm at. So like, I got to venture a little bit to go to Safeway and get groceries, but it's really not that far. It's 12 minutes. But in my areas, it's not a real city. So like it was just a mixture of things, but I think mostly just having a kid and want to have a good life for them and good schools. And and I fly all the time, right? And I always flew United because I'd fly out of San Francisco. Like when I was racing in Europe, San Francisco to Munich or San Francisco to Frankfurt every time on United. And Denver was a hub for United. So that's kind of how, I don't know, different reasons. I was looking at other states too and different things, but Texas was a little too flat, not gnarly enough terrain for me. And it's plenty of good riding there. It's just hard to find good riding. Yeah. And then we were looking at like Boise, Idaho too.
Which is dope too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
where Wes is at now.
Yeah, I know. I talked to him about that.
Yeah.
We kind of moved around similar times, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I talked to him about that, and we were thinking Boise too, but I was like, I don't want to be like every other Californian that moved there, but like every other Californian has already moved to Colorado, like
or Texas
before we did, and now like Colorado, there's so many Texas plates, like all the Texans are coming to Colorado. I don't know. Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah. Well, so when I first got here, because I hadn't been to the States in 5 years. And then I went to Washougal, and I flew straight from Washougal to Wes's place in Boise, because I just hadn't seen him in
ages.
Yeah, like, and he had 2 kids and the whole deal, and I was like, I need some family time with Wes, and so I went there, and he's in Nampa, and man, it was cool. Like,
yeah, it's super awesome there, and like we raced there, like that was literally on the ticket, and I guess I just knew more people that.
Cool.
I knew more people in the hard enduro community
yeah.
that already had some stuff established there. So that's pretty much why we ended up there.
Yeah. But California got weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty glad I wasn't here for
Temecula was its own little weird hub, though. That wasn't as...
Really?
Yeah, because my mechanic at the time, he lived Wildomar area.
Yeah.
And like he was still going to restaurants, and no one like... county threatening, but they're like, we don't care, like we're gonna get closed down one way or another if you don't make us work. Or so I think maybe like central Temecula, Old Town, all that stuff is probably like that, but like more of the outskirty stuff, it's a little bit of Wild West still in parts of Temecula.
I couldn't believe when I went to Washougal how bad Portland was.
It's pretty wild. I haven't been there in a while, but we went for a wedding in like 2018.
Oh, bro.
So I can't even imagine what it's like now.
Well, I went to Portland, I mean, it probably would have been around 2017, like around that sort of time. Remember I was filming with that band? They recorded an album there. So we spent like 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks while they were like recording this album in Portland, and we went to like Burnside and all the cool kind of Portland places, and it was weird.
There's cool neighborhoods there too, with like kind of brick and mortar style buildings and restaurants, and like there's like neat neighborhoods inside Portland, like outside of downtown, that I thought were really cool. That was the best part, I thought, when I was there.
Well, yeah, we were kind of like in those sort of outskirts, but then went for Washougal, man, and like I got up in the morning, and after the race, like we went out at night and stuff, and it was like kind of cool, like it was still sort of, had a cool, fun vibe. But then I got up in the morning to try and have a coffee, and I walked to this coffee shop, and it was a fucking ghost town, and I was like, dude, how is it like this? And it was just homeless people everywhere. It literally looked like I had driven into the set of The Walking Dead.
Man.
And I've
seen video, like I haven't been there, but like, yeah, it's kind of scary what it's become.
And it's like, it was one of the coolest cities in America. Like when you talk about that whole kind of progressive, and like, I mean, they like weed was legal there early, and like the live music scene, and the kind of craft beer, and they were like, it was a cool musical kind of place, and then it just fucking see ya. And then the same in LA. Like, I don't know if you've been into LA lately, but it's just like, whoa, like this place really got weird.
Yeah, San Francisco happened there too, and like Denver as well, but like now it's like weird. There's like area called Commerce City North, and it's like more industrial places, and there's just like the worst ugly looking RVs parked. Like they keep them out of the main areas, but like people are just parked up on the side of the street doing their thing. Like I get it, rent's
it's
gnarly. Like shit's not easy right now, and like but I don't know how to go about it. That's why I'm not out there trying to solve it. But like you look at it and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh man. Like Matson was telling me. So I used to live in Playa Vista. I don't know if you know where that is, but it's like kind of like near the airport. It's like opposite Marina Del Rey. It's like really close to
I know
LA.
where that is. Yeah.
So, but Matson used to live there as well. So it was dope. Like YouTube built their huge headquarters. Google had a headquarters there. Like this whole place basically was kind of like built around. It was like a mini San Fran vibe kind of thing in there, And I was, we were on a Red Bull shoot recently, and we were flying back and just kind of talking. And he's like, "Oh, bro, did you not hear about Playa Vista?" I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, man, that became like overrun with homeless people. Like, he said that they basically built like a bar, a nightclub. Like, these homeless people built like full-blown nightclubs like in this area.
For themselves.
Like, yeah, for themselves. And he's like, every bridge, it was like, you kind of got those like little man-made rivers or whatever, and then you kind of go up into the hills.
aqueduct things.
Yeah, the aqueducts. And yeah, they were just like full cities. And then like RVs, like they'd all just park the RVs. And I was like, holy shit, like that is crazy.
They're just doing their thing out there.
Just living. Dude. Yeah, but I mean, fuck, like what are you supposed to, around here rent's like $3.5 grand a month for an apartment in Costa Mesa, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah. It's gnarly. And like, you know, even other riders you've heard of, like getting on the opioids or having surgeries, and then, you know, it's hard to get off that stuff. And like Justin Hill was trying to be a sheriff, and it was like almost too depressing for him to see that every single day, and went back to riding his dirt bike, you know. And I had another friend that raced arena cross, was in Reno, became a cop and everything for like a full year, and he, like, you know, did it for a good purpose to try and make a difference. And obviously he's got a good work ethic for coming from a dirt bike guy to be a cop. He's fit. And he quit after a year because he said every day was just the same depressing
just dealing
thing.
with
and you can't, it's like you can't help him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's gnarly with Hill, is like he basically wanted same deal. Like, I want to make a difference. I want to like kind of, you know, do my part. And then he's like, just fucking meth heads, man. Like, it's just crazy amounts of meth heads. And that's literally it. But yeah, anyway, fucking sidetrack. But it's definitely, it's eye opening, you know. But like, it's funny. I was actually talking to Hammer this morning, and we were just kind of having one of those kind of combos. We just went down the rabbit hole, and I'm just like, America's so dope. Like, that's kind of the bummer part of it, is that even here, you know, you talk to people like that love being here. They're from here, like, you know, and they say, fuck, it's gone to shit. And it's like,
it's still pretty sick.
But I think everyone forgot, like, pre-America, the world was the worst place. Like, it was so insane. Like, Europe was literally being divided by
constantly,
just like by a new pope. And it's like, who the fuck is this new pope? And then they're like, this guy, they won this war here, so then they put the pope there, and then the pope just literally redivides Europe. And it's like Prussia, like that was just a country that, like, this is not a country anymore. And it's like, so much shit was going down in the world, and then there was no such thing as individual rights. Like, as there was
you did your job.
But there was like, you were basically property. Yeah. You know, like, there was a king that just kind of owned everything, and you couldn't be like, hey man, you can't do that to me because, like, I'm a fucking man and I'm a human and I've got my right. And no. That's like not a thing. That is America. Like, America made that the model that then the world followed. And it's just like, I think we've all kind of got crazy to remember just how fucked up the world was before.
I think we got it to where it was too easy. And
we
like,
did.
Our thoughts mattered almost too much at a certain point. But like, yeah, I think it's still awesome. I mean, you're here, right? Like, it's awesome, but like, it's just things are expensive as all hell now. Like,
yeah, and it's
that
just
part
like,
hurts. That part hurts.
There's just some like weird thinking. Yeah, and like weird, you know, there's issues that get attention that it's just like, yeah, why? Like there's six people. Six people are dealing with
150 years ago, we were fighting off bears for our survival, like hoping the grizzlies wouldn't eat us or survive a winter with the wolves, and like, shit was actually hard. Now we're making things hard when they don't need to be.
Yeah. Oh,
when we just need to go out and respect each other and just
be cool, man. Just be cool, man.
Just go about your day.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, if you see someone in trouble, just help them out.
Yeah. Like I said, I have a little bit of property, not a ton, but like, my old neighbor comes by, we shoot the shit. I help him work on things because he, you know, he's older. Like, I just live my life in the mountains. I'm trying to be a mountain man a little bit, you know?
You should be a mountain man, though. I feel like it's...
I was trying to grow a beard, but I was like, I got to be a professional here. I can't come in looking like crap, so...
Dude, what do you think I do? I look like shit.
At least yours is kind of full, like...
My wife texted me, she said to me this morning, she goes, you're just doing something with your beard, right? She's like, you look like absolute shit. It's like, if I wasn't married, I would look so fucking bad. I don't know.
Even worse than what you do right now?
Yeah, dude. I don't know what what it is, but I just don't care.
Yeah.
I just, like, the thought of, like, I haven't been to get a haircut in, like, years.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
And I just don't even know, like, I can't see my life where I would book a hair appointment. I was thinking about today.
I mean, I have a mullet right now that, like, my friend's girlfriend or fiance cut for me. Like,
but you had to get a haircut.
I did have to get a haircut.
That's not a thing for me.
But it was free. I gave her a tip the second time. She gave me, at the Tennessee Knockout, Manny Ledenbichler has a mullet, you know? So we both got, I didn't have a mullet, so he got a tune-up. And then I got a mullet. So we were both rocking mullets, the Tennessee mud flap, you know? And then a couple weeks went by and it's starting to look a little, it wasn't as mullety, you know? So they were at another one of our races. So I was like, hey, we got to tune up.
Really cut this thing in.
Yeah.
Dude, I could cut the meanest mullet right
Yours
now.
And with like all the curls.
Oh, it would be psycho.
Yeah.
I'd get divorced.
AP would be so jealous of you.
Bro, I wish I could just give him like half. Oh, he's hanging on though.
Oh yeah, like, he's still holding on.
Fully hanging on. I was just thinking, like,
I don't know if it's really a mullet anymore he's got going on.
What is it?
I don't know what to say. Like who's Splinter? You know, like you know people say like a rat tail. It's like a splinter tail hanging out the back, like an old decrepit rat tail that's been going on for ages.
Well, the off-road world really embraced the mullet.
Like Toby Price,
Toby did it. Chucky did it.
Oh, Chucky's got a mean mullet for a while.
Yeah, so I see, you guys are just different.
Man, yeah, we just don't care.
You just don't want to be on no track, no fucking sick haircuts. Just cut me in a mullet. And
just cut me in a mullet.
But the thing that is, I think the thing that separates you guys. Well, I guess moto dudes kind of have it in a different way, but there's like a weird suffering that takes place in like a hard enduro. Or
moto guys suffer. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's way different. Yeah,
there's nothing that's like I've done the enduro races that I've done at home. They're like nowhere near hard enduros, but there's some times where, you know, you'll try and go around some riders off the main line, and then you'll get stuck on a hill, and your bike's overheating, and you're fucking exhausted, and it's just like, the amount of money I would give somebody in cash right now to just be taken off this fucking hill and go home is absurd. And it's like, you like that. Like, that's kind of what you're
There's definitely
chasing.
like a MacGyver thing going on. Like I remember pre-running with my old teammate Max Gersten for like King of Motos, and we're just like out there, it's starting to get dark. We're like, shit, we got to get back. And then next thing you know, it's like bike kept overheating, and like both of us filled the whole bike with water. We hadn't seen anyone in ages, had our own water in ages, and we're like in this canyon in Hammertown, like so far away. Like we kind of know the general direction to get back. No signal, trying to call people. His bike keeps overheating. It literally got to the point, like we finally were like, why does this thing keep overheating? And they had rebuilt it recently, and they forgot to tighten the hose clamp underneath the tank on the radiator, so it kept losing coolant that way. Yeah. So both of us took turns holding the bike and piston it to get it back. So like we're just think differently, you know, like we're ultimate MacGyvers, and like everything just turns into a challenge. But like never before have like. We didn't hold it for each other, right? I just want to get that out there right now. But like, we held the bike for each other.
Look away.
Look away. But like, we got back at like 9:30 at night, and it was like freezing ass cold in January in the desert. You know what I mean? Like, and there's been other times like doing a race in Brazil called Minas Riders. Like, I don't think I saw anyone for like an hour and a half, dude. Just like wild horses just running in front of you. Like, it's like sometimes I think about it, like it's pretty scary. Yeah. It's pretty scary sometimes.
No, it is. And you guys kind of like it.
Yeah.
And it's
like Erzberg, I know I'm like, it's just the worst sufferfest of all time. But like, you normally see people out there. But like Romaniacs is kind of another way. Like I only did it one time. And like, Manny's a special soul, dude. Like that guy, he's won it multiple times in a row. And like Graham Jarvis too. Like, we're kind of messed up.
Yeah. When did you first realize you were that fucked up? Like, when did you figure it out?
I don't know. Probably when my dad dropped me or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I just, from a young age, like, you know, when you're young, you don't care. Like, you just want to ride. Like you were saying with your dad. Like, we would go to trials events and the trial would be over and I just keep riding. Like, it was just what I did. And then just rode trials forever and started riding dirt bikes. And, you know, Enduro-Cross was a thing and hard Enduro really wasn't a thing here in the States. But I started kind of just doing those types of rides just because I thought it was fun and exploring. And obviously I had success at Enduro-Cross with a couple championships and a lot of hard enduro stuff, but I feel like I was like one of the forefront guys in America with hard enduro.
You definitely
and
were.
like back in the day, like now it's different. Like everyone's gotten way better, you know. But back in the day, I would literally just ride through the hard parts and not like and just like put around to the next thing. And now I'm like, it's like a sprint for 3 hours, and it's fucked up. It was way more fun when it was like no one knew what they were doing.
It was way more fun when I was so much better than these kooks.
Yeah, but like no one had gummy tires. Like now we got special tires, all the brands make. But yeah, I don't know. There was no set moment where I realized I was fucked up. I just like. I'm like, I know gravity always works, right? Like you're always going to get down. So we'll be riding some of these spots back in NorCal where I was originally from, and like, let's just drop in here and like just barreling through bushes. I'm like, we're going down. That's a famous line to go ride with people. Like it's downhill, dude. Anyone goes downhill. Like gravity always works.
yeah. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Going uphill is the hard part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I like just exploring, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I don't know. I moved to Colorado, and like first day I go ride with these guys. They're like, "This is Webb's Ravine. You got to go up here." So I'm like, "Oh, I'm going up there, of course." It took me like 35 minutes to go up like the dumbest thing ever. But it was like, so I'm just off my bike half the time pushing. So then they started calling me Goat Boy, which I thought was funny. And then like it morphed, since I'm Cody, it morphed into Goaty. Yeah. So I was like, I'm just going to run with this. Like Goaty it is.
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah. I mean like, and then people were getting mad. They're like, you're not the goat of hard. I'm like, I'm not claiming I'm the goat. Graham Jarvis is a freak, dude. He's like, he does not look well. Like he sold his soul to the devil to have the career he does, but he's insane. You know what I mean? Like, so people call him the GOAT, and I'm not denying that at all. I'm out here having a good time playing and suffering in the rocks. So I'm just going to run with Goaty.
Dude, I love it. Yeah. That's so funny. Well, I think that trials has such a unique background to come from. And it's like, if you could paint the perfect picture or like build the perfect rider, you just almost have to start on
pick with trials and then go to Moto at like trials and Moto, like start trials only, go to Moto, and then do a mixture of the both. You know what I mean? Yeah,
there's so many guys like I remember just being fully mind blown by you when we went to Donna.
You're like, I've never seen this before.
Never.
What is this idiot doing?
I had never seen it. Like I'd seen dudes ride Erzberg and I'd seen hard enduro, but I'd never seen somebody ride trials on a KTM 300 and do the things that you were doing, and it's like, and Billy, same thing. Like he has a trials background. Like he was trying to be a pro trials bike rider, which fucking thank God that didn't work out. But that's a crazy background. It's almost like dirt track in MotoGP. Yeah. You'll hear like Casey Stoner, Jack Miller, like these
Hayden brothers.
Mick Doohan, the Hayden brothers, like they do the flat track thing such a high level, and it's like there's some boxes that it just ticks that.
We see like Rossi Ranch, like he's still doing flat track, and like that's the base, that's the key. You learn what the bike's capable of. You do trials, you learn clutch control, you know where your rear tire is at all times. Like we go testing suspension or tires, I'll admit I don't know fuck all about my front end. Like I don't care about the front end.
It's never on the ground.
Yeah. So like I'm super in tune with the rear end of the bike and like the clutch, and like I've gotten better about the front end, but like I didn't care about that normally in the beginning, and I still don't care about it as much about what the rear end's doing, because the rear end's planted in the rocks. Yeah. You're driving forward, you got momentum, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So did you do a lot of competitive trial stuff as a kid? And what got your dad into it? Like
I don't even know what got my dad into it. I think his neighbors or something like that back in the day. And like the Yamaha TYs. Yeah. He had like I think his first bike ever was like some Kawasaki Trail 110 or Trail 100 or something. So they went to trials events, and he lived south of San Francisco a little bit, and like there was just like some hill they used to ride at on open land, which is probably all $3 million homes now for like a cracker box. But he had one story where like a cop was trying to chase him and got stuck, and he like rode the cop's bike out for him, and the cop let him off.
No way. That's sick.
So Yeah, my dad competed trials, and then he got 4th in the nation a couple times. He rode for the trials.
Even with those big ass hands.
Yeah. He didn't wear gloves either.
I bet he didn't.
Yeah, no gloves fit him back then.
I know it made gloves that fit that.
His nickname was the Animal because like he just like was so strong. He was like a Billy Bolt kind of, but less skill.
Yeah. He just
no offense to my dad, he just had less skill than Billy Bolt, and he would just barge through shit.
I feel like most people have less skill than Billy Bolt,
I guess
though,
that's
so
true.
it's like not really a diss.
Yeah, but so he rode trials, 4th in the nation. He did the Trials of Nations team, which is like MX of Nations, but for trials, you know?
Yeah.
So he did that 4 times for the US. And then I just grew up going to these events as a kid. And I think my dad didn't ride till he was 12. So he's like, oh, well, wait. I guess he wanted to wait till I was 12 years old too to start riding. And then obviously I was like riding a motorcycle when I was 3 or 4 years old, naturally.
Yeah.
So I was riding trials on a PW50 and then an XR50, and then I had like a Mecha Techno Amigo 80, which is like an 82-stroke trials bike, like
Mega
semi-big
Techno
wheel.
80. It sounds like a fucking ecstasy tablet from like this. It sounds like some.
It kind of looked like
gnarly party drug.
It was the Amigo 80. So yeah, I rode trials, and I remember like 1997, like some dude came over. I think it might have been like Adam Raga, who's still riding trials now. Yeah. No, I think he came in 2000. But like they used to have this big trials event in SoCal, and like Jeff Aaron was there. But like people would be like, "Oh, who's your idol?" And like I didn't even know who Jeff Aaron was, and he was national champ like 10 times. You know, I was growing up watching the same 2 VHS tapes from 1990 World Trials.
Well, when was that like the indoor shit?
It was. They had indoor stuff. Yeah, outdoor. So they had indoor, but it was outdoor, and it was. Like Vancouver, Washington, it was Ioko, this place in Vancouver, and then it was like some place in Arizona, but I watched the same 2 VHS tapes. So I looked up to like all these old school trials guys, like Jordi Torres, and like these people don't even know anymore. Like I'm sure you've seen Paul Torres doing like gnarly shit on the Tenere. Yeah. Like his uncle was like the people I grew up watching.
Yeah, right.
And then like Graham Jarvis, he came a little bit later on, but like it was Graham Jarvis, Doogie Lampkin, like Doogie did a little bit of hard enduro stuff and was good at it, but like never really went anywhere and stopped with it. So I grew up watching like the old school trials where it was like keep your momentum, like huge floater turns. And then now you got like Tony Bow, who's like the rear tire hopping generation, who just does everything like unreal. You know what I mean? Like I watch him. I was a decent trials rider and I just shake my head. Like this guy's ridiculous. Yeah.
So the level was just keep like,
it changed. The riding style changed. Like I was a more old school because that's how I grew up as my dad riding. Yeah. So we started doing nationals when I was 10, and I rode the high school class, and they're like, "Oh, you can't ride this class. You're too young." So there's no class for me to ride. And my dad's like, "Okay, well, I'll sign him up sportsman. There's no age limit." They're like, "Okay, fine. You can ride high school class." So I was 10 years old riding against like high school age kids. Yeah. And then I won that in 2002. Yeah. And then at that time I started riding for Jeff Aaron had Team ERE, like Extreme Riding Entertainment. And Jeff Aaron was like one of the first Red Bull athletes, I think, in America, like 2000 or something like that. So I rode for Jeff Aaron's trials team, and 2002 won the high school championship. 2003 won the expert national championship. And then I went pro at the end of that year. And I couldn't even like hop. I was really just being efficient. And like, I think 2006, I won my first ever national overall event. Yeah. And then that was Jeff Aaron's last year. And I'm like, all right, I'm all good to go. And then this freaking guy, Pat Smodgy, came in. Yeah, right. And he beat me. Like I got second like multiple years in a row. And then finally in 2010.
He's such a cool guy.
He's gnarly.
Yeah.
But then in 2010, I won the Trials National Championship finally. And then I went to Beta that next year. And that's kind of when I started riding enduro bikes a little bit more, like 2000.
So you just didn't really do.
I never had a dirt bike till I was 19 because my mom said they were dangerous.
No way.
So I think I rode 2007 was the first Enduro-Cross I ever did because they had them in Vegas. It was like a one-off event. Yeah, No one knew what they were doing back then.
I remember that.
John Dowd, I think, won the first one.
Yep.
I rode that bike. His 2006 RM250 was a pretty sick bike.
No way, dude. I fully remember that event.
So then I did it, I think, one in 2007 on my trials bike, and I was like the first guy to not qualify for the main event that night. So then in 2008, at the end of the year, they had it again. I think they had 3 rounds in 2008, and I showed up I bought like a KTM from our local dealer like 2 weeks before, and I like almost made the main event for the first, like on a big bike. And then in 2009, I went to the last 2 events of the year, like a buddy of mine that like kind of did, like a vet guy, and he just kind of like sponsored me and paid for me to go with him. I think it was just like a fun trip for him. And then I made both those main events, and then I kind of just started doing Enduro-Cross just for fun more and like practicing it a little bit, but like I still was doing trials. And then 2010 won the trials national championship. So obviously that was like my main focus still.
Yeah.
And then
were you getting paid to ride trials?
Yeah, but not much. I mean, I was 15 years old and had a salary. Like that's better than most people. But
what
like,
would it have been back then?
My salary, I think in 2015 was like, no, not 2015. It was like 2005 on a Sherco. And I think I was doing really good.
Yeah, right.
I think I made 15 grand.
Fine, not bad.
That was pretty good, right?
For a 15.
But like, there was no, like, then it never really went anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think the year I won the trials championship, I think I was like made 20 grand. Like in 5 years, I made 5 grand. Like, so like Billy Bull, like I'm glad I got out of that. Yeah. Unfortunately.
That's so wild that you didn't ride a proper dirt bike till you were 19. Did you look up to like,
I rode like a
Supercross and any of that shit?
Yeah, I watched Supercross a little bit. I remember going, you know, like San Francisco and like Carmichael on the 250 2-stroke RM. Like I remember going to that and stuff and watching it, and like I thought it was cool. I never even went to a I just never rode a motocross bike or dirt bike.
That's wild, dude.
So I just rode trials, and then trials only. I rode like I remember like a buddy of mine had a Yamaha 426, and I thought that was the fastest. I rode it, and I was like, this is the fastest bike I've ever ridden.
Dude, I've actually been thinking about getting, like, you can still find those old pieces of shit on Marketplace. And I'm like, I wonder in my head
if it's as good as you remember.
Well, I never got to ride them. I bought it. I think my first 250F was an 04 CRF 250, which actually was a really good bike back then. But those old, like, I want to get like an 02 YZF 250, because I fucking just lauded those bikes so heavy back in the day. And like the kid that won all the races won on that bike. And I wonder how good you can make one today.
I have no idea.
Like, they fucking sucked.
I thought it was sick when I rode it back then.
But back then, you know, like, but if you would compare it now, like, that bike's terrible. Like, they don't even start when you fucking stop the things.
Yeah, I mean, so then I started doing both trials and Enduro-Cross, and there really wasn't, I think there was like maybe King of Motos that Jimmy Lewis started or something like that with the Hammer in 2011, maybe, like Jarvis came out for it. But I was riding a Beta 350. They just came out with a 350. And the thing was, stock was so heavy. It was like 270 pounds or something. It had all like the, you know, dual sport stuff on it, right? So they built me like, honestly, it was a ridiculously pretty good bike. It just didn't have e-start.
Oh, the worst.
They made it lighter. So it was a 2-speed for Enduro-Cross.
Wow, that's sick.
Yeah, so I had that from 2011 and 2012, and then Beta came out with the 2013 was the 2-stroke 300, and that literally was like
game changer. Yeah,
it was just, you know, the 4-stroke was, when it came out, it was already outdated, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I won 3 of the last 4 Enduro-Crosses that year on that bike, like beat Taddy, but I missed a round because I broke my foot after the first round. So yeah, I came back from a broken foot, and like I think I missed the championship by 11 points. So all I would have had to do in that broken round was like get 7th, and I could have been the champion that year, you know. So I guess that helped, because the next year I came out swinging, and I won the 2014 Enduro-Cross championship, and then I went to like a satellite KTM team, RPM KTM team in 2015, and I was pissed that they wouldn't put on the factory one, because Taylor Robert got put on the factory one.
That dog, hey?
And then he got the Red Bull sponsorship. I'm like, you got everything, bro.
You're taking everything I work for. You're like the Nate Diaz.
Yeah, but I was still like the Gooner trials kid that kind of just came out of nowhere and rode hard stuff good. You know what I mean? So, I won the 2014 championship, went to the KTM, and then I still was riding trials a little bit, and I rode like a Montesa 4-stroke that year, which is the same bike that Tony Bow runs. Yeah, and like stock, it's kind of a turbo. They built me like a custom bike from Spain.
Oh, really?
And with trials bikes, dude, people just get the bike and they just ride it. Like,
yeah. There's no
suspension tuning. Never heard of her. Like, but they asked me my weight, and like I think it's Showa on that bike, and like it was a 4-stroke, so I struggled with it some with like big ups.
Yeah.
But the suspension on that bike was the best suspension I've ever had on a trial. Like factory for my weight, like. Normally you ride a trials bike and after like 2 months it just feels like dog shit. It's just so clapped out.
Yeah, the oil's
but like,
so shit.
I don't know, that bike was awesome. I don't think I didn't win one that year, but also through that time I at least won one or two trials nationals every year.
Yeah.
But never the championship because it wasn't really my main goal anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So then once I went to factory KTM in 2016, which later in that year is when we shot Donner partying.
Yeah.
I've never competed in a trials event since then.
Yeah, you were like, fuck those guys.
Well, it was a no-go. Like, KTM was
yeah.
like, oh, this is a
we
competitor. So then
we don't make those.
So then they just go and buy gas, and that solves that problem for them.
Yeah, true way.
Yeah, but so then I won the Enduro-Cross on like the satellite team that year, and then got signed. I think it was pretty much set in stone. Like I met with Hammer. Yeah. I think like June in 2015. Like it was already pretty much a done deal, and did like the amateur MX training camp with like Pear, like the gnarly dude at Red Bull. Yeah. And their training facility. And I was like a 25 or 26-year-old dude. And like it was like with
all the kids.
With the kids.
Jesse Nelson.
Like Pierce Brown.
Yeah.
Cantrell, Falk. Yeah. All of those kids. And like we're like doing stuff on
engineer.
Yeah. I think I had just almost graduated. I was about to graduate. Yeah, I hadn't graduated yet, so I'm still in school. They are too, you know.
Yeah. But just a different.
We're doing like heart rate stuff, and like Falk's heart rate's like he's a little kid, right? His thing's like 213 on the bicycle. I'm like, dude, you should be dying right now.
Yeah, someone call the doctor.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just a really cool I've never had anything like that.
Yeah,
you know?
dude. Yeah, you're
so
like backwoods.
It was just really cool. So I was kind of late to the game, I guess, on getting a quote unquote factory ride and riding for a brand, like a big brand like that, and getting Red Bull, and probably why I'm still here at 35.
Yeah, but I think enduro and like in your world, it's just kind of
the longevity goes a little bit longer. Yeah,
it's just more common to see.
And then we're
guys.
not making $1 million. At this race and buying a Rolls Royce and pimping out like that. You know what I mean?
He did though. Like I guess he did.
I mean, good for him. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't have the excess to do that. You know.
No. But I mean, Jett should.
I got to pay for my kid's Montessori school until he's old enough for public school.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I mean, Jett should do that. I feel like we kind of need a guy to do that again.
Yeah, I mean, like Kenny showed up with like his like suit and his watch, and I don't forget the brand. I'm not gonna say it because I don't know it.
Breitling.
Yeah.
I think he's still sponsored.
I think those are expensive.
They are expensive. Yeah. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Nah.
But yeah, he like showed up to the press conference like the first professional guy to do it versus
with a suit and the whole. But the crazy thing is, and the sport always kind of does this, is just everyone talks shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, fucking shut up. Like, finally, someone did something different.
The guy, he did something professional.
Yeah, something different, something cool. And now everyone's like, well, he's going to fucking lose the race. And it's just like, oh my God, you motherfucker.
It's either they love or hate you. Like, it's not really anything in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm glad Jett's kind of just seems like he's the first dude. It's like, whatever. Fuck it.
He seems like he's just a kid that wants to have fun. Yeah. And he's obviously good.
Well, he made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And $400,000 for a Rolls Royce.
And you can buy that cash.
Just isn't really that big a deal. You know, like, dude, he would have made millions this year. Like, millions and millions. Think about, let's just say, $100,000 win bonus for a 450 race. Well, he won
a lot of them.
All of them.
11 rounds.
Well, yeah, and I think it was
11.
I think it was 11 rounds, 22 motos, and he won all of those. So that's what 1.1 mil just from Honda. Like if we're going off the $100,000,
it might be less for Supercross or for outdoors, but we can round.
I mean,
it
would work. Yeah. It probably is. I don't know. I actually don't know if it is, and then like I'm pretty sure he had like that style of bonus for the Supercrosses.
Oh yeah.
So then he won, and then it's $1 million championship bonus. So then he got 2 of those, plus he won $1 million at SMX, so that's 3.
And plus every single personal sponsor.
Every single
single donut sold at Supercross. That's what about. I went to Denver Supercross this year, and I'm walking around, I'm like, there is some poor soul selling goddamn donuts on the side of the Honda rig. What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
It's like merchandise donuts.
Yeah, I bought some at LA.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? That's when you know you made it in life, dude. You're just a kid and someone selling your donuts.
Man, honestly,
on the side of a factory rig.
That shit is gonna make so much money.
It's crazy.
Like, you think about the marketing potential that he has for the next 10 years, and then he's just created like a franchisable business. And at the end of the day, too, I mean, when it comes to like the world we live in is kind of like weird as it is. It's like
marketing has definitely changed, like the way advertisement's done by these companies.
For sure. And like buying a Rolls Royce is kind of good for business. You know, like I got friends in Dubai that like they do all online, you know, they're kind of like online guys. Everyone there, they call it Wi-Fi money, but they're all Wi-Fi money guys. And it's like they just rent a Lambo for a few days because it's just good for engagement.
Yeah, it gets people talking.
Yeah, literally. It's like they're like, what do you up to today? Well, I'm going to go rent a Lambo and just drive around and do some fucking videos.
I think my wife and I looked it up. We were trying to like figure out like just more information about Jett, and obviously like his manager markets him very well.
Yeah.
But we were looking to see like what he would charge for like an Instagram post.
Yeah.
And it was like $250,000.
Really?
I don't know. That's what my wife told me or something.
It seems high, but
maybe depending on the brand or something like that.
Like, I guess it would just depend on.
Because obviously he's got a good like Alpine stars, but like they're getting free out, not free, but like every time he wears the gear. It's
like Formula One drivers, so they do like a day rate appearance fee, and it's like kind of around that. Fuck, hectic, dude. Like, but yeah, that's just the brands, like it's valuable to have that kind of shit. But I think that I mean, obviously, well, you'd think the way that Jett's going, like he's gonna kind of win a lot over these next 10 years or whatever that he's got doing it.
Seems like it.
Well, if you're just going off
going off statistics here.
Yeah. But it's like the smartest thing you can do as an athlete is to leverage the platform that you've got and create your own thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like there's money out there. It's actually, when you get out into the world of people that are doing that kind of stuff, it's like kind of retarded how easy it is for some people to make money.
Yeah, there's this one influencer guy I met and I follow, and I don't even know what he does. And like he's just pushing out brand like content for like Nike, and his wife is like an influencer too. And I'm like, where and how did you get this started? And like it doesn't even seem like you're doing much, but like obviously you're getting paid, like Samsung, Amazon, Nike, like huge brands. I was like, where did you get started in this? How'd you even do that? And I'm over here like, you know, like people are giving me stupid emails like, oh, we advertise with Nestle, like we'll pay you up to $700 for a post on you. I'm like, I don't want this. This is a scam. Get this out of here. Like, give me the Nikes, bro.
Yeah. This is not worth my time right now. I know a guy in Dubai. There's a bunch of dudes that are fucking killing it. But a friend of mine over there, James, fucking legend, dude from the UK, just grew up like single mum, family, just come from nothing. But he was just like, I just knew I could get rich off the internet. He makes £400,000 a month.
Just doing Wi-Fi money.
Yeah, and he's like
no secrets to it.
He just online courses.
Yeah,
like he's just built this platform. So like if I wanted to create like a podcasting online course, like I just go to him and he has this platform because everyone's doing the online course thing these days.
Yeah,
and it's like he has the platform, you buy the software or it's like a subscription or whatever it is, and he just has like thousands and thousands of
tutorials
people.
And pages and like he's got good info.
But he doesn't do the courses.
He just does the hosting.
He just gives the people the platform to do their own courses. So like there's so many like kind of weird ways that people can do that shit if you know you kind of just. If that's your goal in a sense, you know what I mean? But it's like, I guess what you have is like legitimate satisfaction of like your days and your life. And it's like, I don't know whether that would be the thing where it's like you work to live or live to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you kind of get into that territory. And it's like the same thing for me. Like I'm not fully in this for the money, you know, like I'd say with my knowledge and
it's
things,
obviously helping. It's giving you your life and enjoying yourself.
Shit.
But like,
yeah.
I saw the van you're driving, bro.
That's not Wi-Fi money.
That's not my van. It's not my van.
No, that's not a Wi-Fi money van.
It's not Wi-Fi money. He couldn't even unlock the door for me. We had to like open the side door and walk around.
But let's like the point is like if money is fully your focus, like it's out there. Yeah. And you can get it, but it's just like you've kind of, like you said, you fucking sell your soul to get that shit sometimes. But then there's the people like Jett that get to do both, where it's like you just make uber insane money from just doing something you love and just being like a real badass at it.
Yeah, I mean he did something right. He's also got crazy skills on a bike, and he's got the looks. People like him, and he wins.
Pretty good recipe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on that content thing, I can talk about what I've been working on. I'm not trying to become a Wi-Fi millionaire, but I feel like it's something I can help people with. But I'm working on like an online training course like the last 4 months. Yeah. And like it's quite different than like the Moto side of things, where I feel like a lot of people like are every day making like weekly programs. Yeah. What to train, like what to do in the gym this week, you know, do legs today.
What kind of micro
do cardio training. Yeah. So like, you know, people are paying for like a monthly deal for training. And I've done that before too. When I was at KTM, we had to pay with like, it was underneath the Alden Baker program because they got like the KTM thing. So it wasn't with Alden, but it was Charlie Mullins who used to race GNCC. Mm-hmm. So he would make a kind of a schedule for me, but like this isn't like that at all. It's just, I feel like I have people all the time reaching out to me to do trainings. Yeah. And like, dude, I have a family. I'm still trying to be a pro racer with a family. Yeah. Like, I don't have the time. I wish I did. Like, cause I know plenty of people that make a ton of money doing training, but
That's not part of your schedule right now.
Yeah. I can't afford that time it takes, even if it pays that well. Like I have a couple more goals I'm still trying to achieve in racing, right? Yeah. So I'll definitely do stuff if it makes sense. Like after a race this year, our first Enduro-Cross round, I did a training all day. Yeah. And it's, you know, off-road based, right? So I've basically been writing content for like 4 months now, and it's all just primarily hard enduro based. It's just more technical riding side of things, but it's all off-road. Like I'm not trying to teach someone how to ride in Moto. Yeah. Because I need help on that myself. Clearly when Ben LeMay kicked my ass. So yeah, it's just an online subscription platform. And, you know, I talked about it. I didn't launch it yet, but like I kind of just brought it out just people would start talking about it. Yeah. So it's written content with just a ton of hard enduro skills. Yeah. And I'm going to add in more as time goes on, obviously. Like I want to include Enduro-Cross because that's
your bread and butter.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, hard enduro is what I enjoy the most, but people like the kind of pizzazz of Enduro-Cross. So I'll have Enduro-Cross. I'll have a little bit of trials. It's not really my thing anymore, but I obviously know enough.
Yeah, you have the foundation.
Yeah, so I have the foundation side of things. So it's written content matched with videos, so it turns into more of like a skills and drills type course. Yeah. So everything will be available on a platform, and then you can upload videos to it. So it's kind of like a content creator platform, but like MySpace-ish, but obviously it's not MySpace, but like people can upload their own videos. Yeah. And I'm just trying to connect more people that are into this type sort of technical riding. So I'm trying to like organize like a track walk with Cody. Like, so for subscribers, they can walk the track with me and get my point of view on stuff. And I want to help the community because it's so new still that there's not really anything out there to help these people. And I go and I'm watching the amateurs do the race and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you're just destroying yourself. So my whole game plan is just to help people gain more confidence with their skills on the bike and conserve more energy, because I feel like that's been my strong point throughout my career is just maybe some other guys will be faster than me, but like they're just blowing their wad and I still have gas left in the tank at the end of the race, right? So I'm doing this whole online thing just to spread more awareness for hard enduro, get more people interested. And I feel like it's such kind of like on a growing slope right now.
Oh, definitely.
That I just really want this to be beneficial to people and get something out of it. So I want to have it pretty affordable too, so it's not like hurting people's wallet. Like you see some of the stuff people put out there and you're like, oh geez.
Yeah. So how do people find it? Like, can people find it right now?
Yeah, I mean it's not out yet, but if you go to cw2training.com, there's just, you can put your email information in there, and then I have everything.
Yeah.
So once I launch it, I think anyone who's reached out and emailed to me on there, I'm going to do like an early bird special where you can get locked in at a better rate, just for kind of being one of the
early adopters. So like, you put your email, you're not going to get it, but like once it's launched, you'll have that opportunity to be one of the early bird subscribers, That's sick. And what's the price point you're thinking?
I'm thinking for early bird, probably like $14.99 a month.
Yeah, sick.
And then $19.99 a month for full-time people. So, and then not only is it just like, obviously people want to know nutrition side and training side, and like, I'm not a personal trainer, bro. Like, I can tell you what I do, but I'm not an expert, right?
Yeah.
So I've already talked to a guy that he's been doing like enduro training type stuff, but he came from the fitness side of the world.
Yep.
So I've talked to him about partnering up and collabing. So like, we have that in order, so it'll kind of just be like 2 different generic plans you can follow, so that'll be included, and then a nutrition. Oh,
that's really good.
And then a nutrition based thing. So like, I don't know how I'm going to compensate those guys yet for helping me, but I'll have nutrition info as well. Basically, it'll just be like how to fuel yourself race day. And it's not from me, it's from like an actual nutritionist who knows what the hell they're doing, and like that's who. I mean, I could copy and paste what they wrote me to do, but like, I'm going to have him write it for the masses. So that way some of that information's out there, and it's not from me, but it's from someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. And I think even if you're into moto, like the skills that you, like we do this Cape York ride. I don't know if you would have seen the photos or whatever, but we start in Cairns, which is my hometown. We go all the way to the tip of Australia and back, and it's like a 3,000k round trip deal, and it takes us 2 weeks. And
that's massive.
Fuck, it's fun, bro. It's so sick. Like, I almost killed myself on this last time that we did it though. But it's just like the skill level. Like, you're on a bike so much and you're doing so much weird shit that by that end of that 2 weeks, I am just such a better rider.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so much.
Like, from the beginning to the end, you're like, you're just way more efficient on the bike.
Yeah. And it's like, it just feels as cliche. It's like, it just feels like more of an extension of yourself, and like, you get caught, they're like, oh, I can't go here. And you're just like, all right. And it's like kind of stuff that's like fundamentals of hard enduro or enduro. And like, if I grew up riding that shit, then it would just be, that's no big deal.
Second nature.
But when you're a motocross guy, like, you lift your bike off the stand, you ride onto the track, and then you do your laps, and then you go back and you put your bike on the stand. Like, it's just not the same thing. But I go back to the first time I saw you ride, I was just like, holy fuck. Like, there is just so much more that's possible on a dirt bike that I actually thought there was, you know? And I thought, because I remember growing up, and there was like a free channel in Australia called SBS, and it was like just the government channel, basically.
Just a ton of content.
Just a ton of random shit, And the trials, they'd have like trials, and they'd have Dakar, and they'd have World Motocross. So I used to like Stefan Everts and fucking Joel Schmetz and all those guys. Like, so I'd be glued to SBS all the time so I could watch anything 2 wheels, But yeah, you look at I would watch the trial stuff a lot. But I never in my life thought that was something that you could just then apply to a real dirt bike until I saw you. And I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah,
everyone should, basically my point is like, if you even you ride dirt bikes, whatever, like that's skills that would really benefit.
Crossover,
yeah. Like, and I would like to take these courses.
I go to the Moto track at Thunder, and like, I'm not the fastest guy out there. Like, I can hold my own, right? But I'll ride with like a guy who's like an ex-local pro, and he'll be like, oh, I loved like watching your lines, like the way you see things out there. So you just see stuff differently sometimes as well, right? So especially when I get to the hard enduro events, I go where people aren't at because I figure that's a better line instead of waiting in line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, I talked to AJ Catanzaro a little bit. I reached out to him to try and do like a collab thing because he just did a off-road crash course type thing with one of the guys that races Enduro-Cross and some hard Enduro stuff with a Spencer Wilton. So it seemed like that was a success for those guys because, you know, you have a lot of dudes on the East Coast doing like J-Days and other stuff, which is off-road more or less, right? Like a glorified off-road motocross race. So I reached out to him because I thought, you know, it'd be cool just to get more stuff on his page for off-road and then help pump my thing up a little bit. But like, I feel like it's skills all around that can help
for
you.
Sure. 100%. And I'll definitely.
And when you watch some, you know, pro supercross, motocross guys, like you see some of the guys that have true bike skill, like a Roxon when he's jibbing around, like doing crazy nose wheelies, like, you know, he has bike skill. But then there's other guys who like, they get in first gear and it's like, they have no balance. It's crazy to see it like drop off like that. Yeah. And I've ridden with moto guys off road and like dudes that I'm like literally barely hanging with, or like they're or faster than me on a moto track, like just local kids. Like I used to have one of them come and ride at my parents' house in the back. We had like this mean sand track, off camber. Everything was off camber, ruts, like never hardly ever prepped it. Like you just rode it. You rode the lines in, right? Yeah. He would like pretty much almost mop up on me on like a motocross track, and we would go out there and I'd be like 8 seconds a lap faster. Oh yeah. And I'm like, dude, you need skills. What's going on here? Like, so I think there's obviously a benefit for everyone, but you know, I think that's where if a moto guy, they want to do that like crash course, quick overhaul with like a guy like Catanzaro, and it seems like he's doing really good with the Moto Academy, right? Yeah. So, and he looks like he's driving around and doing in-person stuff now as well. Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of where he started. Yeah, that's where he started, and then got in the online thing. Yeah. It's just a good way to meet the masses, but like, and a moto guy just doing like the generic off-road thing with him, like I could find that being very beneficial for just add a little extra, right? Like sharpen the knife blade. Yeah, no, 100%. So yeah, it's definitely something I'll be looking into as well. And then like I hope if you're like, because obviously it's mostly moto and supercross dudes, like I guess for the podcast audience. You did say you had people looking into some hard enduro guys. Oh, dude, I get it all the time. But I'd say, but the problem is there's no outlet for us. Yeah. So like here we are listening to you and Pulp, you know. Yeah. Yeah, but there's like a crazy market for it, and it's so much fun, and that's like one of the things. I really hope you can come do the race, the GYPSY Tales 500. Yeah. Like I hope it lines up with your schedule, because those events, man, like it straight up got me into riding again. Like the whole time I lived in America from 2010 to 18, like I didn't ride. I rode Star West. You're too busy filming and trying to do other things, I guess. I just like, I don't know, like I kind of, Andrew McFarlane died. And I like was there and I saw it, and it was fucking traumatic, and I don't know, like I wasn't very good. I just sucked at it, and I was sick of sucking, and I really lost my love for like the actual riding part of the sport, but it was just like the only thing I'd ever kind of done or wanted to do, or it's just, I loved it. So I just didn't ride, I filmed, and then those races got me back into it. It was like enduro riding is what got me back into racing motocross, you know? Yeah. And it's like, and it was those kind of like fun events where it's like it's a team and you're with your boys, and it kind of doesn't matter if you win. And like some of the funnest races I've done are like the stupid like swap your boxers relay race, you know what I mean? Like yeah. So like I think that's really cool with what you're doing with the Gypsy Tale 500 is like anyone's welcome essentially, right? Like, well, and you can have a motocross bike, you can have an enduro bike. Yeah, like it doesn't just come out and ride. It doesn't matter what you got, and you can be a psycho like you that's gonna Iron Man the thing, or you can have 4 of your buddies and you ride once an hour. So you're on the track, you do 8 20-minute rides, and it's like you can. Like, I actually wrote a column for Transmoto. They're the ones that I basically copied the idea off, but they were like a magazine kind of back in the day. They're all digital now, but I wrote an article for them after I'd done it 2 years in a row. I did the 6 hour,
And the article was called 6 hours a year because it's all literally, it's all I rode, you know.
Just that one event.
Yeah. So I was like, I put 6 hours
Hand
on a bike.
smoke, monkey butt, ridiculous.
Yeah. But, you know, the fun level and you know, there's an element in being a motocross racer or like going to a motocross track, like even on a practice day, you know, like some motherfuckers are just taking shit so serious, and it's like they're trying to take you out, they're trying to like, it's life or death that this dude wins this fucking B class moto, and it's like nobody cares. Off-road world just doesn't have that. Yeah,
nobody cares.
No, literally.
Like I look back, like even myself, like the grand scheme of things, nobody cares about me at all. Like I'm not that big of a deal.
It ain't that deep.
Yeah, I'm not Travis Kelce, dude. No one gives a shit about me right now.
Don't even know who Travis Kelce is.
So. It's the Taylor Swift thing. Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah. All of a sudden now he's all famous. You know.
Man, he's in like every ad for every.
I couldn't believe that goddamn Pfizer ad he was in. It was like a ridiculous amount of money, and I was like, "You sold yourself out, dude."
How much money did he make?
I don't know for sure. I
would do a Pfizer ad.
I was guessing $2 million. That was my guess.
I'd do it for $200K. I'd do it for $20K, bro.
I was guessing $2 million, but I read it was more.
Really?
But who knows? There's no reliable news sources anymore. But my guess was like,
apart from Gypsy Tales.
Yeah, apart from Gypsy Tales
and Pulp.
Yeah, I mean, you were shouting out SKF, and you don't even run them.
Yeah, so. That's how core I am, bro. I just want you to win.
So raw.
I want you all to win. You know, I want to share the good shit. Also, never been paid $1 by Stark too. Just FYI, I think there's a bit of a thing that people think that I get paid by those.
Yeah,
guys.
They haven't paid me too, obviously, because I made fun of their tablet on front of the bike.
You're on a blacklist. Yeah. There's like a fucking whiteboard in Stark where it's like, when we're the biggest company in the world.
Billy Madison or something when he apologized to the guy and then crosses the name.
People I'm going to kill. Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
I'm probably on Stark's list right now.
That's fucking so funny.
I said the motors are sick. Electric motors are good.
They are good. He made one. He made one before the Stark. He was the first dude.
Yeah, first one. Originator.
But no, that whole enduro vibe, like people should definitely like.
Yeah, like we're walking, like everyone's like walking the track together, like everyone's BSing like after the race. There was a lot of beef between Haaker and I for a while, Colton Haaker and I, and like they like brought us on, like each had our talk about the Pulp show, and I really don't know what happened. We just didn't like each other, I guess. I felt like he quit talking to me. And then I was like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah,
because we were buddies, you know, and rode trials. So then I was like, I'm not going to talk to you either.
And you're both just young.
And then, I don't know, then he had 2 kids and then I got kids and I was like, I guess, like I said, nobody really cares about us.
Yeah.
So now at least we can, you know, be in the same room and look at each other and talk.
That's so funny. Enduro-cross beef.
Yeah.
I love that.
It wasn't fun at the time.
Really?
But I can look back at it.
Was
it's
it
funny
that
now.
serious? To where
I don't know. Yeah, it was like... I kept like, just like in like heat races, like third lap, just come in and clean me out. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
What are you
like,
up to?
Come on, Friese, let's go. And then I'm just like the nice trial guy who just is like, like just riding around out there. So yeah, I don't know. It just got blown out. And then obviously like Pulp, he's looking for anything to like pump it. So I got pumped up, and then there was like,
it was probably good for the sport though.
Yeah, I think like that's like, Haaker was trying to run with that. Like it was like the Conor McGregor thing for a while.
Yeah.
So like he was trying to go for like the Conor McGregor attitude, like the bad dude, and maybe I was the good guy. I don't know who the good guy was, but luckily it ended. It wasn't very fun. Yeah,
I think, you know, that's like I talk about it all the time. Like it's funny. I spoke to Friese at Icon Fitness. So with Charles, like he was training there, and then me and my wife were training there, and I had this conversation where I'm like, I kind of get it with him. Like I get where he's coming from. Like you think about this for Vince Friese. Like I'm gonna paint the picture. There's some fucked up shit that he does, and that I just fully don't agree with, just because of safety, you know.
Yeah.
But like, this is a half defense of his actions at times, or like.
I mean, I can easily find defense too. Like yeah.
I'm
interested to hear. I want to see where we're going here.
I want to hear your defense, but it's like you've got this guy that sucked so bad, like he was so bad. You know what I mean? And it's like you have to respect right now. Like, he beat Ken Roxon in a race in the UK. I was there and I watched it. Like, Ken could not pass him on a Supercross track. Ken come from behind. He legitimately won the race. He sucked so bad in only a few years previous to that, right? Think about how desperate you would have to be to go from being that shit to beating Ken Roxon. Like, think about the hunger and the determination and the work that he would have put in, and just the he rides desperate. Like, I don't think he he's a very nice guy off the track, and like everyone will say that to you, you know. But it's like what he rides, it's not reckless, it's not stupid, it's not angry, it's not spiteful, it's not vengeful, it's desperate. Like, he wants to win so bad because he sucked really bad for a really long time. And it's like the grind that he went through to become the Vince
He doesn't
Friese.
want to let it up.
No, and he's still in his mind, like, and I said this to him in the gym. I literally said all this to his face. And I was just like, bro, you're here now. Like, you don't have to be this desperate. Like, you belong. You get a good start. You're not as fast as those guys. But I'm like, you're riding with this desperation mindset when you should now be like, okay, I'm here. I'm a little bit slower than these dudes that are winning, but I need to just like let them pass, follow some lines, and now I need to enter like a new phase of development. Like, the first phase of development was just fucking desperation.
Just be there.
Yeah, just do everything that you can. And then this phase, it's not like, you don't get better by keeping a fast person behind you. Like, that's not the way that you get faster. You get faster by hanging with the faster guy longer and longer and longer. And it's fun. Like, I had that thought in jiu-jitsu, like, I can roll with a black belt, and if the round's 5 minutes, I get 5 minutes where it's like, it'd be like me riding with Ricky Carmichael and he was like forced to be just in front of me for 5 minutes. But in Moto, that doesn't happen because once they pass you, they're gone. Yeah. So like, that's Friese's kind of dilemma, is it's like, he's so desperate and he's so hungry to do what he thinks he can do and do what he wants to do, that he ends up just riding like a fucking idiot out of that desperation. You know, it's like the desperation and the hunger and the want to be better just fully overrides like what he actually should be doing to go better, you know? I
feel like he's just so close to being there, but not quite there, right? Yeah. So like, you got Roxon, who's had crazy money deals throughout his career. Yeah. And then you got Friese, who's just been
on pennies to the dollar.
On pennies the whole time, right? So then you go to these international races, especially, where they pay good money or start money for these guys just to have the big names there, you know what I mean? So like, he's always been an amazing starter. Yeah. So he gets a good fucking start. He doesn't want to, dude, that's a huge payday for him. Yeah. So he's going to do everything he can to not lose that money out. Like, that's huge for him. He doesn't have the massive salary, I'm sure. No, like definitely. A Roxon. No. So like, he's just clawing on and hanging on to everything he can to keep those guys behind him. So like, in my mind, he's super aggressive, right? But like, you never see him aggressive coming from the back of the pack. He's just doing weird shit in the front of the pack and going backwards, trying to hold those guys off. So yeah, I feel like his biggest motivator is like, he doesn't have that. This is paying for his life. He knows he gets good starts. He's going to do whatever it takes to keep them behind him. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that as well too. But like, he definitely works crazy hard. Like, every time I'm in that gym, he's in that gym. Yeah, you know, and he's like, doing it. I'm at Glen Helen. I was training for World Vets, and he was at Glen Helen. You know, like, the dude puts in the work, and he wants to. I think like, if you just look at where he came from in his career and how shit he was at the start, you know, it's just like, he wasn't some phenom am kid. Like, he is the definition of just grinding from the bottom. And it's like, and you don't see that. You really don't see many. Really. You don't see many guys that just ground it out from the bottom and got to, like, he's at the top of the sport in a sense. It's like, you ever watch basketball much? Hang on, I'm just gonna switch this thing. You're good. Okay. We ended with you saying, "Do you watch basketball?" Yeah, you don't know much about basketball, or not really? Kinda. So you remember like the Birdman?
Yeah.
That's, to me, that's Friese. Like the dude didn't really come from, I don't even know he played in college, but like he showed up to like open practice potential thing, and like he was their scrappy dude. Like they just put him in to just razzle people.
Yeah, just
Birdman.
Just hunger.
Friese.
Yeah. But you think too, like Moto's such a unique sport where, like, because he was a privateer, right? So, you know, we don't have the draft and we don't have college and we don't have like this funnel that just like you put in like 1,000 dudes in the top of the funnel and then 2 dudes pop out of the bottom of it. Like, we don't have that. Think about, like, let's keep going with basketball. That would be like a game at fucking Madison Square Garden, and then at 1 p.m. they're having practice in the half court in Brooklyn. And just everyone rocks up and they get like 5 minutes of playing basketball, and then it's like, oh, you did good, you're gonna go in Madison Square Garden and you're gonna play in front of the crowd and the whole deal. And it's like, that's kind of Moto. Like, Moto is this weird, unique sport where just like any Joe off the street can go and race on the same track as, you know, it's like a Steph Curry or LeBron James, and then they've got to look and deal with some dude that's literally come off the street. It's very strange.
Yeah, and there's like no scouting process, or like my wife's godfather, he used to coach the 49ers football team. Yeah, Steve Mariucci.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. But he coached the Lions too, and they're also like 0-17. Like, we don't talk about that one. But
that wasn't his fault, surely.
It was the team. But like, every time I talk to him, he's like baffled by the sport of dirt bikes, because like nothing makes sense. It doesn't correspond to every other sport. Like, I talked to him, he literally could care less because he just talks football 24/7. All people want to talk to him about football. So like, whenever we're at like a family thing or he's there, like he just wants to hear kind of my side of things because it doesn't make sense to him.
Yeah. What's like the weirdest part of it to him?
Just how can you make money doing this?
Yeah.
Which is the most common question I get from everyone. And it's like, well, I ride for a team based out of France, and they're the importer here. I have Red Bull, I have personal sponsors, and like, you can make bonuses at the races, and here we are. I have a house and a family.
I live.
Yeah, I live. But I don't have a Ferrari. I don't have a Rolls Royce, but I get by, and it beats sitting at a desk. So I'm going to keep trying to do it.
Yeah, and I love this.
Yeah.
But it's the thing that is cool about Moto, and I mean, look at like a guy like me or a guy like Pulp. You know, like we make good money off just talking about this shit.
Yeah.
And the reason why is that there's such a Moto's so cool. Like, you can start like your company, you know, like you have your online like it's like this interest and it's this hobby that people are super passionate about. And then you need to buy the bike. So there's got to be a company that makes the bike that you ride, and then you've got to have protective equipment. So you go to Alpine Stars and they make boots and helmets and all that. And then you need handlebars, you need grips, you need oil. Like, there's this whole industry that is built around just this hobby. And it's so, like, to play basketball, you need shoes maybe. And you need a basketball and you need air that's in the basketball.
Yeah.
And it's like, so where's the industry behind that sport? You know, so it's like, it's a very different dynamic, and it would be very hard to make money out of, but there would be such a small group of people, like a small industry behind like the basketball industry, because like, what can you make for it? What do you need? And then like
a hoop, a net, a ball.
Yeah. And then it's like, that gets completely like almost monopolized in a sense by like the Spalding or like whoever just got the most market share the earlier. Like, there's no one making a new basketball. Like, there's no one making a new baseball. Like, it's just,
you're not gonna come out with an electric basketball. You know what I mean?
No. And so Moto, you've got like, this guy races this bike, and people race these bikes. Okay, well, people will buy this bike if this bike wins, and you know, we need this guy with this gear. And so we have a really thick top down kind of industry that is like pretty readily available, and then it's like it's a kind of a sport and it's kind of entertaining. So then there's like media that covers it, and then there's like dudes like me that have the people on that talk, then they talk about it. So it's a pretty dope world to be involved in, and like it's kind of weird that there's this much money in such a weird niche sport. And my wife said the same thing. Like, she'd never ever heard of motocross, and the first time we went to the track, she was just like laughed.
What
she was
is
like,
this going on?
She was just like, "What are you guys doing?" So this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but it's like that's actually, when you look into the economics of it, it's like it's a fucking pretty dope industry.
Go to I don't know if you've ever been to a GNCC, but like they get like the biggest numbers of riders. But like Saturday, I don't know how many quad riders they get, but like the amount of people that show up and drink beer and cheer them on in the mud and pull them out of mud holes is insane. Then Sunday you have the Moto and the bikes, so it's like C race in the morning, kids bikes, amateur stuff, B and pro race, and like the amount of RVs, the amount of bikes being bought. Like some brands literally just have a truck there just for spare parts to sell. Like, and it's like Iron Man or something like that gets like 800 people signed up to race on a Saturday.
I think it's more.
Yeah, maybe even more. So like, think about the money just in the pits that these people are spending. It's insane. Or like you go to the desert on a Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
Here in California, like go to the desert and it's like families all with crazy fifth wheel trailer haulers and their bikes and their quads and their UTV, like even UTVs now. Like the amount of money for this stupid hobby is astronomical.
But it's like it's a like a lifestyle.
It's a sense of freedom, I think. I mean, for me, it's like nothing beats just like whenever I'm hurt and I'm like, I've been hurt a couple times. You're like on the couch, like I'll just literally like crutch out to the garage when I've had a broken foot and just get on our Honda 50 and I'll just ride up and down the road just to have like the air hit my face. Yeah. It's like, it's awesome. I don't know what it is. It's like this sense of freedom, which is,
No, dude, I completely agree. I was on the phone this morning and it was like I got up early and I had to do like a bunch of phone calls and my buddy, he was actually asking like about the stock and he's like, if you could own one bike, and I was like 350, and he's laughing. He's like, I kind of hoped you'd say that, and I'm like, bro, I'm looking at it right now. Like I literally did all my phone calls just in the shed looking at my
whenever
bikes.
I chat with someone, I'm like in the garage on the phone, like playing with my clutch lever, like
100%.
Something's wrong.
I know, but like, so think about, like it makes sense in the family. Like it's what you and your dad did. You know, it's what my dad and my parents, they both flew over and was like World Vets pit crew. My dad was at the track with us every day. My mum, my wife, like they were cooking food. Like Moto is like an inbuilt lifestyle, and like the people who are your best friends, like most of the best friends you have come through this thing that you've done. There's like this common ground that you can find in, we like this kind of hard, weird thing, and we've got these skills and
overcome these challenges.
Yep, we've inevitably been injured, and we've dealt with injury, and like Anthony, we broke himself off in a billion pieces, and it's like we spent all night at the hospital with him, and we were like diagnosing his injuries before the doctors, and like
been there, done that.
And it's like there's like that sense of community and that sense of friendship, and that's all built into this thing. Yeah.
I mean, I look back at high school, like I played basketball all throughout high school and rode motorcycles, and it's like I kind of hung out with friends still from high school, but the only people I talk from my hometown are the ones that rode motorcycles or bicycles with me. Like, am I the outcast? I don't know. Those are the people I like hanging out with. So
and I guess there's just like a how would you say it? It's like it filters. There's like a filter. You're like, oh, you ride? Okay, cool. Like
we'll accept you.
We've built.
Oh, you ride quads? Think about it.
Oh, dude, I've had this ankle's been playing up. I probably won't ride for a while. But there's so many qualities that kind of like get filtered out, where it's like you've got so much common ground, and then it's almost like, okay, you've probably got this, and this, and I kind of like those things in a person. Yeah, it's fucking rad.
I guess that's why you're still here in SoCal.
Yeah, dude. What are your bucket list things still left you want to do on a moto? Competition or otherwise?
I mean, I'd like to do another Red Bull project.
Yeah.
Filming one just to kind of, I feel like it's hard now with all the amount of content out there to like go viral, but I'd like just to put something cool out there for the masses that's different. I just like being different than Moto Supercross, you know?
Do you have any ideas of where or what?
We've chatted. I've talked with Wes some too about stuff. I have one that we talked about, but I probably can't talk about it yet, so I won't bring it up, but it would be kind of scary. I'm scared of it, so I guess that's good,
that's
right?
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good of it. Yeah. It was like, I don't know if I could do it, but if we put harnesses on me, I'll try.
Oh, that'd be.
So, but, you know, I talked about doing like a similar type free ride technical thing like Donner Parting with Wes, and we mentioned, I think he talked to like Green River, Wyoming or something like that.
Dude, that would be cool.
But like the city would want to be included in like doing urban assault with natural, which would be really cool. Yeah, because that's everyone's dream, right? To like break the law, but make it like it's allowed to do.
Yeah. And what about competition wise? Any boxes still left to tick? Yeah,
it'd be really hard for me at this point in my career, but it would be amazing to win Erzberg, but I don't know if that's just ever going to happen. The level's gone up, and it's not easy being a dad and pro racer. Like people do it, but I'm still doing it obviously, but like to that it's top hard. Thing. Like you
have to be so selfish.
Yeah. That's my problem. And like, I want to be there and see things in my kid's life. And like, I'm already feel like I'm so selfish to begin with, you know what I mean? With what I'm doing, but like my wife gets it and it's how I make a living and she knows I enjoy it. So like, it's just that extra amount.
Yeah.
To be there it's hard.
Yeah. What about like just not racing, not, you know, anything like, cause I'm 35 as well. And I'm like, oh man, I want to ride for like ages. like my uncle, shout out to my uncle, he was 66 the other day and he rides more than me. Yeah. You know, he rides e-bike, like mountain bikes.
Here, this is my goal, honestly, is like to just like, once I don't get free stuff anymore, like I just want to show up to like my local motocross track on like, and just to rat it out like O2 YZ250 or just like a bike no one would ever presume just some dude to be like shredding on, like have like my old boots from when I was sponsored, or like a plain white Arai helmet or something, and like wear a flannel and just like I just want people to be like, who is that? Like, is that guy's like, what's that guy going so fast for?
Someone should sponsor him.
Yeah, kind of like what did Dino do with the Grandpa
Earl or whatever.
Grandpa Earl? Like that was the best, dude. That was amazing.
25 million views, bro.
That was. Dude, I was
it might be one of the best dirt bike films ever.
I loved it. I was laughing so hard the whole time, like everyone's reactions. But like, I just think it'd be sick just to like rip my dirt bike and like obviously I still have skills. I hope. Yeah. But like, I want to when I'm done racing, like I still want to continue being fit and like and like I don't want to be a lazy slob, you know. Like I still want to just be healthy and go out there and ride my motorcycle, but like I just want to look like a complete goon, but like people are like, who is this guy?
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, or like sign up for like a random race, like
just smoke
and like
everyone.
Sign up with like no jersey and who is this guy? Do you know the name Eric Swan?
I was thinking,
So he's NorCal guy.
He is the fucking coolest.
And I thought I was going really fast at like the Hollister GP track because it's like there's very really open. Like they used to have races there back in the day, but like first guy on the track, like crazy deep loam sand, overwatered. Like I was on like my Beta 2-stroke, like just wide open everywhere, just to even like stay on top of the dirt. Yeah. And some dude just comes railing past me in a t-shirt. And I was like, what the? And I look and I go talk to, I knew it was Swanee right all the way as soon as he passed me. Like he's super tall, lanky, over the front of the bike.
Style.
Yeah, it's just weird style, but like, you know who he is when you see him. And like, I go bullshit with him afterwards and he's literally wearing a shirt that says like, I heart doobies. like the cancer one was like, dude, I literally... Like, it's just so humbling, you know?
Yeah. Man,
so I'm just going to humble people. That's my goal.
You just want to be that guy.
I want to humble people.
Well, my first experience with Eric Swan was Mammoth. And he's on the start line, and he's
probably in the flannel.
He's got a flannel on, and he's got these like kind of Larry shift pants and 2 fucking braided pigtails out the back of his helmet. And I was
like,
just
this guy's going to be a joke. Like, no way, this guy's fast.
I kind of had a suspicion.
Like this guy, if you're dressing like that, you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was like, if you're at Mammoth and you're running braided pigtails and a flannel out the back in the A class, like, you actually probably know some shit. And dude, he whole shotted this race, and I was like, I just found my new fucking hero. Like, he is my spirit animal, bro. And so he ripped. Like, I can't remember, like, if he might have won the race or whatever it was. Like, maybe he got, I don't know. He did good. And then he come off the track, and I was just like, dude, that's fucking unreal. And the presentation was going on, and he walked up to me with the fucking joint that was like a baseball bat. And he's like, hey man, I really want to smoke some weed with you. And I was just like, right on, brother. Like, you're the fucking man. And then, I saw him at World Vets again, and like, yeah, he's about it. Like, he's that. I love seeing a dude like that, and just knowing that like core is still just real, you know, like he's like one of those, like a free ride snowboarder, you know, that's just like doing it for the
love. He does it for the love of the sport.
Just wants to be his own dude and just doesn't give a fuck.
If you ever get up to NorCal, you'll have to ride the track on his property. It's something special.
Really?
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun.
What's it like? How would you describe it?
It's like in the Santa Cruz Mountains, so it's like all redwood forest up there and like super green and lush, and it's pretty close to the coast. Like, I think from their house you can maybe see the coastline probably, but it's like just it's down some windy roads, like way back there, like near like UCSC, where a ton of mountain biking stuff is, like that type of community. So like he's tucked away back there, and like just hippie, mountainy, like you don't know what you're going to get in Santa Cruz Mountains. Like, you're either going to get a granola or like some dude who's been there forever, he'll shoot you off his property.
yeah.
But like then I think it was someone else, I forget, it was another X-racer that had that place back in the day, but they call it the Swan Pound. Yeah. But like down in this valley, it's like sandy-ish dirt, and like when it's like they'll like maybe get a dozer out there once a year after like a rainy, and when it's all rain rutted out and everything. But like, man, it's super cool spot. Yeah, it's nothing crazy gnarly. There's a pretty big table on, but like just the dirt is sick, and like huge berms, and just a fun track, and like you're just in a spot where you'd never assume a motocross track could be.
Man, that's cool. I might have to put that on the bucket list.
Yeah.
I've been so into just the trips, like just doing big trips with a bike, and that's definitely something that I feel like I'm excited to do that more and more in the future. Is like Vietnam, you know, like we ride across Vietnam, and it's like you get these shitbox fucking like but Jason Thatcher, the guy that owns the tours, will fucking be so disappointed. He loves them. They're like these Chinese, they're like a Harley, they're called a Lyphon, and they're a 150. They're the size, they weigh like 400 kilos. And it's like, dude, it's so good. And like, you know, so I'll fully paint the picture. You start in one end of Vietnam, and then you end on the other end of Vietnam. You ride the entire country, right? And their whole slogan is "See the real Vietnam." And you're like pulling up, you'll do lunch every day. Like, breakfast is at the hotel that you stay at, or that homestay or whatever, and then the dinner. Sometimes you're at a fucking sick beach resort. Sometimes you're like having just random Vietnamese local food, you know, or street food at a market or whatever. But it's like there's a whole group here, and then you start there, and then you're basically on the two-wheel version of a go-kart, like a rental cart, where like, you know, you go to any rental go-kart place and you just put hold it flat the entire time. That maxes out at like, I mean, fuck, we probably do like 130 down a hill, you know, Ks. Yeah. And we're just like Moto 2, like there's the sound, you're going through all these like beautiful canyons, like some of the most scenic, like Jurassic Park shit. And then there's just with just like these fucking bikes just wedged, dude, and you're like just full in a Moto 2 battle for the entire day. But it's just,
is there like dirt roads too, or is it all paved?
That's all paved.
That's all paved.
But then, so he owns Cambodian motorcycle tours, which is all,
I've seen that one.
So I haven't done that one yet. My dad's done it twice, and that's probably be the next thing I do. Like, I might try and fit that in next year and do it, but that's on the dirt bikes. And but yeah, those trips, man, like, and then adventure bikes too. Like,
they're selling an experience. It's not really like
and it's
a ride. Like, it's everything together, you know?
It's the best experience too. You know, like, there's friends, like there was 3 people at that my wedding that were on the first trip I did.
And they stayed. They're here to stay. Yeah.
You know, like, you make those kind of friends when you do a trip like that. And like I think my parents have done it like 3 times. I've done Vietnam twice. Like, I've done 2 tours in there. Legit.
Still here to tell the tale.
Dude, I crashed out of the second one too. I fucking yeah, bro.
Pushing it too hard.
Kind of. But it rained, so we were fully pushing it too hard for like probably 45 minutes. We just got in this mountain range, and the tour guides rip, like fully rip. And so we were just like kind of allowed to go behind, and we were kind of pinning it. And so we sent it way too hard, like locking up, like both wheels, just fucking sliding all over the road, and like kind of getting pretty close to going off the side. And then it started raining, and so we're like, all right, boys, shut it down, like we're done here. And then I just come around a turn, hit a bit of diesel on the road, like, you know, kind of the rain pulls it up, and I low-sided and slid on my face. Like, not everyone wears a full-face helmet, but I've had a Bell, one of the cool, like, retro ones. So I had that on, and bro, I still have the helmet. I slid across my face on the tarmac. It happened so quick, I didn't even have time to put my hands out. I actually busted my shoulder, like I did my rotator cuff. And I will never forget the sound of like my face being on the concrete, and just like and then the metallic.
And no control. There's nothing you can do. You can't slow down.
Oh no. And then just the bike just across it, and I'm like trying to look up to see if there was a fucking truck coming, because I went opposite the lane. Bike went in a ditch, like, and then there's no, like, you kind of had to, we're in a spot where you had to ride it out. Someone else's bike had shit itself on that day, so there was already a bike in like the back of the support vehicle. So I think I did 80 kilometers in the rain, freezing cold, with my shoulder dislocated on my throttle side, and I like had to ride this bike. And I ended up, we got to one hospital, and it was generator powered, this hospital, and there was like kittens running around the thing, and they were like, oh, we'll turn on the lights for you. And I was like, don't worry about it, fuck it,
I'm on to the next one.
I'm going to the next town. And then the next town was one of the nicest hospitals I've ever been in in my life. So,
worst hospital ever and best in the same day.
Literally, dude. And then I ended up flying out. I went to Bali the next day, but I was like, fucking peace, boys. I'm not staying in the back. I'm not staying in the back of this van. But yeah, like, just one of the coolest things. And then like the Cape trip that we do. So I think that's going to be like my evolution of riding, when I'm like, I don't really want to do the moto thing. And it's like, it'll be more headlights.
So the next Ewan McGregor, you're going to be like,
I would love that.
Traversing across Africa.
I would love
by
that.
yourself.
No, I need friends. I need my friends. I need guys that are better than me, so that they can do all the hard shit first. Like, I need a lot. Yeah. But I feel like dirt bikes, like, we're like probably going to be the generation that starts creating that in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, right now,
it's well on its way. I feel like, and the adventure market is getting crazy
for sure, but it's still a lot of old dudes.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like, not the younger generation yet.
Yeah,
we're all still too busy racking our brains. And
we're like the Stacyc kids of adventure.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, Poltaras is ahead of us right now, but we'll catch up.
Yeah, but like Townley, right? You know, like, he's got his place in New Zealand, and he says right now that the Tenere is his favorite bike.
Yeah.
You know, It's like, he's got
pumped on it.
Yeah, he's got every type of Yamaha, and he does his rides, and he does the tours as well in like New Zealand. But he's like, yeah, the Tenere, that's my favorite bike, hands down.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's on its way.
Yeah, so I'm in a lifetime of
lifer.
Lifetime.
Do they make it in a 350?
Yeah. Give me a Tenere 350 and we're good. So hey, shout out your this website one more time. We've done it, mate. 3 hours 20 minutes.
Oh, jeez. All right, yeah. CW2training.com. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, and then,
but yeah, it's I'm still working on it. Maybe like February, I'll have everything done. It's a lot of work, I found out.
Yeah, it is a lot.
But hopefully it's worth it for everybody.
Yeah, it will be. And anything else that you got coming up this year? Where should people go? What should people do to see the Cody in action?
Yeah, the Cody. I got YouTube. There's some stuff on there.
Sick.
Yeah, but like, it's like I said, it's me, myself, and I, and trying to handle 2 kids, and stuff gets up periodically. So I do my best. But yeah, we're finishing off Enduro-Cross this weekend in Reno.
Yeah,
I was tied for second in points. I had a shit last weekend, so now I'm 4th. But mathematically, there's still a chance. But I feel like Lloyd Christmas and Dumb and Dumber, there's really not a chance. So I'm going to go out swinging, and then after Thanksgiving, I'm going to the roof of Africa just for the hell of it.
Really?
Which sounds like a terrible idea, but I wanted to keep my airline status, so I needed some miles. So I had to work vacation. It's not going to be a vacation at all.
So what are you going to do? What's the trip?
The roof of Africa is, I think it's like a 2 or 3 day. It's like the original Hard Enduro, they say, from like the 70s.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a rally down in South Africa.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sick. Are you just going down
So
by
it'll be
yourself?
like a sick, yeah, I'm flying out by myself. I got help from Sherco, South Africa.
Yeah.
And literally I was just like trying to figure out today, like where I'm staying. They're like, be here then. I'm like, okay.
No way.
Let's give this a go. So yeah, I'm borrowing a bike from them. They're kind of running chase team for myself and Wade Young. And then, yeah, I think it'll be sick. I've never been to Africa. Like, I'm pretty excited. And when I talk to some of the racers that done it, like, you're passing through like tribal areas, and
really,
it's just like one of those bucket list things where like, if I got the opportunity, I might as well do it, and I'll probably go, and I'll never want to do it again. But I can, tell my kid I was something cool back in the day.
Yeah. And dude, Africa would be such a crazy experience.
Yeah, never been, so I'm looking forward to that.
Have you had to do all like the malaria shots, and like you've been doing all that
I don't
stuff?
think so. I looked into it, but I didn't need anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I don't know.
Sick.
Maybe I'll just wing it and see what happens.
Just don't get it's like hyper paranoid. You just smell like Aerogard. I don't know what you guys call it here, but you're just like showering in Aerogard all night.
I don't even know what that is, but yeah, sure.
What's the bug spray here then? What do you call it?
Oh, I don't know. There's a couple of different ones. I can't remember right now. It's got DEET in it. One of them's got DEET. I don't know.
Yeah, we call it. It's like Aerogard. That was like the big one back home.
I don't remember.
But yeah, Africa would be sick. That's still on my bucket list. I've never been.
Yeah. So I'm taking this opportunity while I can.
And what's the format of it? It's like Hard Enduro /
Yeah, it's
rally.
a prologue. So the prologue looks like you're like ripping city streets and then like stuff around town. So like last year's was like starting on the streets, and then you go up into like the hillsides and stuff. And then it's like, I believe it's 2 days, but GPS format.
So you got waypoints you got to hit.
Yeah, so you just follow a track on a GPS thing.
Yeah.
On the bars, and it's 2 days, probably 5 hours a day or so.
Yeah, right.
So it'll suck, but it's.
I mean, it'd be sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
At the end of the day, I'll be pumped I went.
How long is the flight from here? Like, where have you got to go?
It's so bad. I go Denver to Newark.
Yeah.
New Jersey, and then because I fly United, and then Newark to Johannesburg, which is like 14 hours.
Yeah, so it's just a big flight down there.
Yeah, and I put in my upgrade points, so let's hope, fingers crossed. It's just gonna suck to be in the back, so we're getting upgraded. Don't worry about it. I use my points,
so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm only 6'3".
Fuck, that'd be a sick trip.
Yeah,
that'd be a super sick trip. Well, best of luck, mate.
Yeah,
and thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no, I had a good time.
Yeah,
glad I came out.
Yeah, this was awesome, and we'll do it again at some point. We should do a trip. We should do some kind of ride trip together.
Yeah, ride trip. Maybe after Mesquite, we'll go to St. George.
Yeah, what's the mountain bike or
Moto? St. George is a little bit of everything. You can mountain bike or UTV, be an old man. And
are you still running the acoustic e-bike, or are you?
I got both bikes.
What do you ride the most?
I got a pivot.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually have 3 pivots.
So you got a bit of a thing with those guys?
Yeah, I got a thing, but I have the Trail 429, which is like their, not cross country, but like trail bike.
Yep.
And honestly, that's the one I ride the most.
And it's naturally
because it's like 130, and it's 130 mil, and it's sick. It's better for technical stuff. And then I got a Firebird, which is an Enduro.
Yeah.
And it's obviously good at going downhill, but I don't like climbing on it.
Yeah.
And then their shuttle is sick. I got the LT, so I got the bigger battery, bigger suspension.
Yeah.
But not many people have e-bikes, so I end up on my Trail 429.
Yeah. Oh, not many people have e-bikes up there?
It's hit or miss.
Yeah, okay. Dude, I just don't know if I'm mountain biking without an e-bike these days.
I know. It's so much better.
It's insane. You know what's
I
crazy?
love when people get so pissed online at e-bikes. I'm like, dude, you hate having fun.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well,
go back to your hole and just smash your keyboard some more.
Yeah, put on some Lycra, suck back a fucking gel, and then stick the wrapper up your
Go
ass.
drink a cortado mid-stop on the ride. Have your little mustache. I mean, come on.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, well, dude, you can just send an e-bike all day.
Yeah, uphill send, downhill send.
Yeah, uphill send, down. It's like, oh, I would rather pedal with my legs and hit 3 downhills a day. And I'm like, okay, I'll pedal with my legs plus this motor and I'll hit 9 downhills a day. Like, we are doing this, like you said, gravity always wins.
Yeah.
We should leave it at gravity always wins.
Yes, it does. Alrighty.
Thank you so much, bro. I'll see you at Mesquite. I don't know the date, but it's in early March. If you listen to this podcast, get on Cody's training, send your email to him, and then he'll send you an email back when it's ready to rip. And also look out for some info. Actually, by the time this podcast comes out, I'll probably have all the dates and stuff. Cody Webb will be there. He'll be doing the Ironman, all 500 minutes of this race in Mesquite. I'm getting a Sherco 300 apparently for the race, and it'll be a good time. So come and be Enduro with us Headlight Warriors.
Yeah, see you guys there.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, GYPSYTALES.com. packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.